How you doing, Omer Woodworth? Woodworth. Oh, damn. What's good, Haru? Gooey Aloe is a crazy ass name. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of fuck with it. Yo, Superman just joined the chat. That's wild. You know what? No, you don't get to lurk in the fucking in the comments. Get your ass up here. I have made an executive decision for you. Sick. So what's good? What's popping? How y'all doing? Evolution is real. All humans are apes, specifically catarrhine monkeys. Give me any evidence that evolution is false, and bring back bring evidence to back up your claim. Um, on God, I got my live access back, bro. I'm happy as shit. Matter of fact, get your ass up here, too, boy. Get up here, Christopher. Oh yeah, are you friends with? Oh yeah, you're. Are you?
Hey, right now I'm at a bus stop right now, so I can't speak, but I can hear you.
Are you good? But I was about to ask if he was friends with Globezilla because like I peeped that he like I follow him, but he don't follow me, so I can't send him messages or anything. It's
So I
unfortunate.
think he doesn't follow anyone who doesn't follow him back. But I
Yeah, I
I,
did.
I don't know.
Yeah, I was following him. Oh well. Oh
Oh,
well.
I don't know. I don't follow him. I rarely come across him, so I haven't really followed him like that.
It is what it is. But how you doing,
Hello.
Palm? How you doing, Palm?
Good. I hope you're doing well.
I'm chilling. Can I get your age for TikTok?
I'm 26.
Bet. What you got to say about the live topic?
Um, with evolution, I think there's just too big a disparity between us and animals in terms of our intelligence, the capabilities that we have. Is just animals. If we evolved from them, then they would have at least a fraction of it, but they just don't come close to us at all in terms of intelligence or things like that. So it's just there's too much of a gap for it to be valid for me.
I could name like at least three animals that have comparable intelligence to human beings. I wouldn't say a full adult human, but they have like the intelligence of at least a 7-year-old child. Corvids, parrots. I don't know where dolphins lie. I know dogs have the intelligence of a 3 to 4 year old child. Um,
Yeah, I think
but
dolphins are like 10 also.
yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, corvids like crows and shit, they use tools. Like they
Yeah.
actively do know how to use tools. Like say there's like an acorn or like a walnut in a
Mm,
glass of water, right? And the,
yeah.
the the glass is like half full, and the corvid or crow can't really reach it with its beak. They know that they can put rocks in the water to make the water level rise so they can get to the acorn or to the walnut.
Right. And I think that is that's I'm not trying to put down animals. I think that
Mhm.
is a cool thing that they have. But they like for example, something like the internet. There's no animal that could ever even begin to understand what the internet is. But we can have that capacity to do that. And
Mhm.
we created the internet. Um yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, you also got to realize human beings have been around for, oh, I don't really know it as far as like you believe, but human beings, like us, human beings, we've been around for at least 200,000 years. I think it might have been pushed back a little bit. It might have been a little longer. But taking that into consideration, they're really like, as far as like crows and stuff, like there really hasn't been anything like on the same level as us that has come around.
Mhm.
So I mean, there
So
really
you
wouldn't
don't
be
believe?
anything. Hold
Just a
on, bro.
question for the host. Just a question for the host. Um, you don't believe that there was divine intervention?
No,
Um, okay. So why do we still have apes?
Oh
If
my.
because we
it,
didn't evolve from those apes. That's like
right.
saying
So
that's like
we're
saying
so
why.
you're saying that we came from a subspecies.
Why do we still have wolves when we have dogs? And why aren't dogs turning into wolves?
Domestication.
Yeah, you know
So
humans domesticated themselves, right?
To who?
We humans
it'd be a hard
domesticated
argument. It'd be a hard
ourselves.
argument to
Domestication
say
is
that.
just to take advantage of and breed specific traits through
That's
selective breeding
so. Here's the
to
thing. Here's the
produce
thing.
certain outcomes that
Why
benefit
why
humans.
would
We do
you?
this all the
So
time.
no, it was a question for the host at the same time. But I appreciate what you're saying. I get what you're saying. It makes sense to a certain extent.
Yeah,
Um,
because it highlights a real misunderstanding that you have in evolution, doesn't it?
no, it doesn't. I mean, domestication can come from a lot of different factors.
All it has to
So
do is proximity to human society and adapting to live in it or
Well,
to thrive
evolution
it.
is a species to species. So a dog and a wolf are close enough
they're
that they
close.
Evolution
didn't
is
They're
evolve.
evolutionary
neighboring.
species
They're
to species.
neighboring. They're not the same.
Um,
Okay,
You
so
could
to
evolution
put
take
it
a
in
you could take a
perspective,
fundamentally
hold on,
German
leads
you
to
could take a
hold on,
German
hold
evolution.
on.
Shepherd right now.
Oh,
You could take a German
everybody,
Shepherd right
everybody,
now.
everybody, fuck. To put it in perspective as far as the dogs, or the dogs and wolves. Wolves, their scientific name is Canis lupus. Dogs, every single living dog is Canis lupus familiaris. They are quite literally wolves. They are literally just a subspecies of wolves.
Right. So
But
you're saying that we evolved. I'm asking you a question from the evolution standpoint. You're saying that we evolved from a subspecies then. If you're
No,
saying we evolved from apes, right?
Well, I was trying to explain we didn't evolve
We
from
didn't
modern
evolve from
apes.
apes. We are apes.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, that too.
Oh my
But
goodness, man.
Hello,
I mean,
everybody.
So where did the intelligence factor
what's
come
up,
in?
man?
domestic dogs are an entirely different species in and of their own.
They were bred. They were made. All
Yeah,
dogs are
like,
made.
and wolves are also gray wolves, which is what they typically come from.
Dogs are genetically
Um,
made, bred.
So what do you
they
have?
are
What do you have to say about
also the same. It's the same relationship.
the predating of men? Oh my God,
Are we
man.
talking about dogs or are we talking about people?
Again,
I had a
it's,
question
it's
for
the
the
same
host.
relationship.
I mean,
The original
hold
question for
on.
the host was:
Go ahead.
Did if you say that we evolved from apes,
We did.
right? Was it a subspecies or what was it?
What do you mean a
Because
subspecies?
you wouldn't have apes still.
Dog, that literally makes no fucking sense. What do you mean a subspecies? Chimpanzees, gorillas, they're all apes. Like there
Right.
is no singular. Hold on, there is no singular species. There is not a fucking ape called an ape. Like its scientific name is not an ape. Like you know how like chimpanzees, like I'm fucking stuttering so bad. Humans' scientific name is Homo sapiens. There
Yeah.
is not a single species of ape that is just called ape. There is not just like a fucker that whose name is just ape.
Right.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
it's
Right.
a
So
it's
you're
a higher
saying it's a
category.
but
It's a higher category. So like
oh
you
its
my
have
goodness.
genus.
When you're talking
gorillas,
about
chimps, baboons, they're all apes in that category.
Yeah, and so are we. And there's a
so
certain amount of adaptations that come from our clade, our ancestors, basically, That
Exactly.
can
So
come
do
from
you
our
do you
ancestors.
understand that
You cannot get these in any
chimpanzees
other
right
way.
now are in the Stone Age? They are in the Stone Age.
No, no,
They
could
are
be
just now
considered to
getting
be
able to
the
use tools and do things.
pre-Mesolithic period, is what
Well,
like people
can I make a
describe.
point that I think y'all will
Oh
appreciate?
my God, man.
Because um there's genetic limits to how far our bodies can mutate, quote unquote. So
I would
there's
like to know exactly what those genetic limits are to.
I have some
for
stats
example,
here, guys.
we can never grow gills because it's not within our genes to grow gills.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like,
So
well,
it's
no,
never
not
going to be able.
necessarily, right?
You do realize that embryos actually have gills, right?
No, I mean like fully functioning, like for. So, okay, forget
Well,
gills. You're never gonna grow
basically,
scales.
you're saying that
You're never
convergent
gonna grow a
evolution.
tail.
Oh
You're
my
never
God,
gonna.
man. They're
I
gonna
don't like.
find any reason to
Well, hold on. So
Can I
you're
tear the shit
basically
out of that?
what you're describing to me is that you think that convergent evolution does not exist.
I don't believe in evolution. No.
Not in the speed that it
No.
happened in.
Well,
Uh-uh.
convergent
so
evolution is the idea that you could evolve a trait that another member of a species has without being from that, like a common ancestor.
So
It can also happen with.
So
hold on,
how do you
Scribble.
explain the rapid development of the brain? That's where I'm going with it.
Maybe
Well,
it was
our human
mushrooms.
DNA, hey everybody, the human DNA, 40% of it is made up of reptilian DNA.
you still have a vestigial tail. It's called your tailbone
Yeah,
or your
so actually our
coccyx.
DNA we're mixed, and then we have
Right.
something
So
called the missing
are
link.
you not saying that there was divine
We have a genome
intervention?
that
It
can't be
doesn't have to be a
described.
god.
Hey, bro, one person at a time. Go ahead, Keys.
Yeah, so the percentage, like the evolution part Homo sapien, but part we've been modified. Basically, what I'm trying to say, because of the missing link in the DNA, no other
There's no
animal
missing
has
link.
no other animal. I'm looking at it right here. It says 8% of our DNA can't be explained, and this is from, and this is his Cold Spring Harbor, Harvard Laboratories. Just published.
That's why I
So,
ask
so like
people
I
is
said,
because you don't feel
So
that there's a
all I'm trying
divine
to say is,
intervention. There's a divine intervention that came along. That's something people forget about. That we have lost history. You know.
Not true.
Yeah, but this is what you're saying with the 8% number. That's coding. This is not. We know what that's coding DNA. That's where you're coming up with that. Do you understand what coding DNA means?
yeah, but it doesn't say that here, sir.
I
Oh,
don't.
so
I
it's
don't know.
only
another thing,
8% of
and another.
DNA is functional, quote unquote. That's the coding DNA.
Hey,
What's
hold on,
coding
guys. Hold
DNA?
on. Hold
I
on.
keep
Hold on.
hearing
Hold
that
on.
our species is Homo sapien. Our species is sapien.
All right, so the
These-
human genome contains billions of pieces of information, around 22,000 genes, but not all of it is strictly speaking human. 8% of our DNA consists of remnants of ancient viruses, and the other 40% is made of repetitive strings of letters and reptilian origin.
Okay, nice.
Look at our brain. The back of our brain is a reptilian part of our
Yeah,
brain.
but the problem is that you're discussing is like ERVs, right? They're the smoking gun for evolution. There's no denying it.
But
I mean,
evolution,
Yeah,
there's no
endogenous
denying it.
I'm just saying, in
endogenous
our
retro-
timeline of human existence, what animal? Name me one species that had an evolution that changed.
Neanderthal,
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Had
that- I'm
this,
saying-
bacteria.
here's the thing.
I'm
Here's
saying
the
the
thing.
modern
He's
time.
except for
Had
Luca.
that big of a jump, that
Hold
big
on.
of
What
a
was the
Every
question?
species
What
on
was
Earth
the
It's
is
too
question?
far. It's too
Basic, y'all,
far.
we're aliens. We're aliens.
We're not aliens.
Bro,
Holy
bro, I swear to
shit.
God, y'all about to piss me
Brother.
off, bro.
It's too far of.
Every
Everybody
species.
shut the fuck up. Everybody shut the fuck up for fucking 2 seconds. God damn, bro. Like, do y'all not have some fucking decorum? Damn, bro.
Wrong word.
Do y'all know how to
Wrong
speak
word.
one at a
Wrong
fucking
word,
time?
brother.
Decorum? That's the correct word. I know how to
What?
articulate.
Let's talk about the prompt. Evolution is real. All humans are apes. Give me
Well,
evidence.
I was trying to get into that. Somebody had asked the question and I couldn't fucking hear over like everybody yelling and screaming. Like that's why I got irritated. I don't even know what the fucking question was now. Like, damn.
There we go.
Here, I'll give you evidence that
He
evolution
asked
is
the
false.
age-old question: if apes, why apes exist today?
No, here I got you, bro. I can prove why it's false, and you guys might be mad or whatever because you're gonna be have to like, oh, well, I can't believe I believe. So, anyways, so when I learned that when I was about 7, I was skateboarding and I was trying to go down the ramp, right? And I accidentally did not make it all the way down.
And you didn't turn into a Pokemon?
No, I did. I did. It really hurt, and you'll understand why it hurt. I fell all the way down the ramp. I looked at my leg, and my bone was sticking out of my leg. And I thought I was gonna pass out for a second. I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't speak, and I just legit was oh wow, okay, so this is really happening.
Probably.
So, and I just had something come into my head. Just said, it said pray. So I said Jesus.
And this made you
Real.
denounce the process of allele frequencies
No.
changing over generations?
No, I said please, if you're here with me right now, if you're real, please help me. And I closed my eyes and I opened it. And I kid you not, my leg was completely held.
So I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I'm not really trying to I'm not making up anything either. I had a pet lizard that unalived recently, and I pretty much did the same thing. I asked God, and the lizard is still unalived. So,
But you also saved a turtle, Snapped, so
Yeah.
stop lying.
But
Hey! I was a one.
You brought a turtle back to life, bro.
Hey, bro.
So
I think he makes an interesting point, though.
Because you don't believe. You have to have pure faith. I was 7. I had pure of heart faith, and it's unfortunate that you don't have the pure of heart faith like I do. But
again, I'm a theist. I believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I follow Jesus as the Messiah. Now, how does that disprove evolution?
yeah, because
Is God not so complex that he could create a process of which we can sustain ourselves?
God.
I think
that
what
evolution
what-
says that everything was made in billions of years, billions and billions and billions of years, which that's not true.
How do you know that's not
It was made because
You have no clue how the
the Bible is real, and it was
Paleo-Hebrew
made in
calendar
7
was
days.
converted to the
It
Gregorian,
was made
and
in
neither
7
does any
days.
scholar ever.
The Earth was made in 7
Well,
days.
I think evolution just doesn't have an explanation for where things like morality and consciousness come from.
That
Here
would
we go.
because evolution doesn't need to.
Because evolution doesn't need you look into this guy.
What's your
Evolution doesn't have
designation?
hold
What-
on.
Just somebody please explain what he means by consciousness. Give a definition of consciousness for
So
yourself. please.
To me,
consciousness, basically, I mean, our
Just
soul.
one,
and
just
spirit.
one person. Just one person.
One person, please.
Consciousness is the active, aware guidance factor you have over yourself.
Knowing that
Soul
you
and
exist.
spirit.
As many academic sources as I could compile into one definition when I was doing my own writings on it, that's the most vague definition
I
I
got
can
a
give.
better
that
one.
fits.
That's not vague. Soul and spirit.
That doesn't make any sense.
What do you mean?
Okay,
I
so-
know. Well,
so-
let me give you. Can I give you my definition of consciousness? I think consciousness is pretty much being, just understanding that you exist. So being able to ask abstract
No, that's
questions,
sapience, not
being
conscious.
able to
Oh,
ask
actually, you're right.
abstract questions, personal questions about who am I, why am I here, etc.
That's not. No.
Yeah,
When
that's
you
where
make the
consciousness
claim,
comes
just
from.
hold on. Just hold on a second. When you make the claim, like you just made, right? That's generally what the neuroscience community basis of consciousness is, right? It's being self-aware.
No, it's not.
It is. I'm a
Self-aware,
neuroscientist.
yes.
It's being self-aware.
consciousness.
That's
Self-aware.
literally what
He was
consciousness is.
describing.
That's what
No,
I
I
was
know.
saying.
That's
He was
he was
describing
fine
sapience.
until he started
Okay.
spilling over with the rest of it, right? But
You're
being
right, you're right, my bad.
self-aware.
Being
So give
self-aware
me an
is-
example of how an animal doesn't have self-awareness.
So an animal will never ask, "Why am I doing this?" They
Exactly.
are 100%
That's wisdom.
driven.
That's sapience.
No,
not
be quiet.
consciousness.
No, let him finish. Palm, go ahead.
So that they don't have that aspect about them. They don't have consciousnesses to say.
Yeah, they
They'll be
do.
able to do things,
Amen.
but they won't be able to say, "Why am I doing things? Why
Amen.
am I here?"
Yeah, they
Those
do.
types of questions, they're not capable of doing that. Everything is mostly instinctual.
Scribe,
If I
scribble.
could-
Why do you keep
That's actually
saying
not true.
It's just not true. There's no research to go behind the fact
There's
that
no
they
research.
lack-
Are you,
Well, what
are
is
you
the
actually,
evidence
are you
that it's
actually
true?
Christian? Are you actually?
Yeah, I am, but I am
You
just
are.
a Christian that doesn't deny reality.
Yeah,
What is the
it doesn't
evidence
deny
that it's true?
reality. Yeah, it's reality that the Earth was made in 7 days.
Are you an ancient human, Red? Why do you have this ancient understanding of the world? God
It's
had
not
to put
ancient.
things
It's a
down
fact.
into
They're
layman's-
trying to hide everything from us.
No, Red, this
Dog,
is a thing.
hold on, Scribble. Why are y'all so adamant on being stuck on a Bronze Age religion?
What do you
We're in the
mean?
Why
fucking
are
20.
yeah? Well,
Because
You're
it
literally
stood
believing
Why
it
that
stood
why
shit
are
the
is
you
test
so
of
something that
time.
can't
That
be
means it's
evolution?
valid.
Yeah, I got if evolution is real, why are you stuck on a Bronze Age evolution? Got him.
Well,
not.
What?
It's not a Bronze Age evolution
Bro,
theory.
what? Bro,
Evolution come
he's
about
saying that
until like
evolution
what
That's some
existed
Sumerian
since
knowledge or
a
some
long
shit.
time.
Look, I will
1700s,
tell you this:
1800s?
absolutely nobody in the Bronze Age understood the cosmos how we do. Absolutely no one in the Bronze Age built a rocket ship and took it to an extraterrestrial
Yeah, they
object.
did.
None of them ever did that,
Yeah, they
not even
did.
with the Tower of
Have you
Babel.
ever heard of the Anunnaki?
bro.
The Anunnaki is just a cheap fairy tale.
It's just
First
the
of all,
chief. This guy is not
first of
Christian,
all,
guys.
So
This guy's
hold
not
on.
Christian.
The Anunnaki comes from books that are considered apocrypha. They're not actual
No,
canon texts.
no, they're the giant. They're the Nephilim.
no, they're not.
No, the Anunnaki and the Nephilim are not the same. The Nephilim are children of the
Listen,
fallen
you
angels.
don't even know
The
the Bible.
Anunnaki are
Why?
separate.
Brother, you're not going to talk over other
The
people.
the
Watch.
Anunnaki come from this ancient religion where their gods were called Anu and Naki. It was two separate gods. One was like a god, one was a goddess, and it was an African religion. And they say that the father of the Edomites is Yakub. So am I really following like is my creator not God, or is my
This
creator
guy,
some
see,
black dude with a big
like,
brain?
thanks for the mute, bro. Because I was trying to help him because he didn't understand what he's talking about. So
Yeah, the Anunnaki story is just a
no,
cheap fairy
you
tale. It
don't
has
understand
nothing to
what
do
you're
with
talking.
Christianity.
You're over here
Hebrew
saying,
Israelites
"Oh, based
adopted
on my
it into it.
research, based on my
Let's
research, how about you? Have you ever had your body healed? Absolutely. Have you ever had your bone come out your skin and actually go back in
What
because
does
you
this
prayed?
have to do with evolution?
I have
Honestly,
never
yeah.
broken
Let's
a
talk
bone
about
in my
evolution.
life.
Exactly.
God has loved
Exactly.
me so much,
No,
He's never had me break a bone
no,
ever.
All right,
because the devil's been protecting me.
all right, we're done with that.
Is
Okay,
evolution real?
yes. We got like 3 other guests on the panel, Shane and Jimmy's. Can I get your name for TikTok purposes? Or
Welcome
not
in,
name,
y'all.
age. I'm tripping.
Yeah, I'm Shane. I'm 29.
Hell yeah, man.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm 30.
What do you have to say about the live topic?
Well, there's no evidence for evolution, only speciation and extinction.
Explain to me what you think speciation is.
Dog breeds.
That
No,
no, that's
those
not.
are not speciated from one another. Those are the same species still. Just like black and white.
Different breeds, adaptation, maybe.
Yeah, a black, a white, and a brown person are all the same species.
Yes, I think
Maybe.
adaptation is more accurate.
Yeah.
Adaptation.
Let me change that for adaptation, please.
Okay, so not speciation, but adaptation.
Correct.
You know, adaptation is microevolution, right?
When was the last
Well,
new animal created or adopted from evolution?
we should differentiate between adaptation and
There's
evolution.
a species of moth that I think just was discovered about 3 years ago.
So it's
But we
it was
watched them
newly
evolve.
discovered, but the
No. We watched them literally. The reason they were newly discovered is because we literally watched them come into existence.
Hey, scribble. Fuck off. Not to be a dick or nothing. Fuck all that. Because they could argue that we just discovered it. There ain't never been nothing like this before. So can we all agree that before the atomic age, there were no high levels of radiation on the planet? And if you know where I'm going with this, just bro, Haru,
Before the
stop
atomic
removing
age.
people from the fucking guests. Why are you
That's
fucking kicking it?
well, that's early 1900s atomic age.
Okay, yeah, okay. I'm sorry, I just got distracted. Fuck my brain. So could we all agree, right, that before the atomic age, before World War II, that there were not high levels of radiation on the planet? Yes or no?
I
Well,
would agree with you. I don't think there was.
Okay.
I mean, maybe in
well,
some parts in an
it
ancient.
was always there.
Okay, but that's not what I'm asking. I'm talking about surface level radiation, like how you would see in like
No,
after World
no,
War
I
II.
think it's worse now.
Okay, bet. There is a species of fungus that lives in Chernobyl, like I can't even fucking articulate. Jesus Christ. Basically, it's a species of mushroom that feeds off of radiation, and it's only lives there.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, there's also the Chernobyl dogs, but
And
that's just an
all
adaptation.
that is adaptation. They're exposed to extra radiation. So
Well,
their
adaptation
biology.
is
Yeah.
evolution.
So
Hold on, guys.
We're
Let him
making
finish.
our own
Let him
argument.
yeah, let's
finish his
differentiate
statement.
between evolution and adaptation.
No need to.
From my understanding, evolution is a species from species. So a fish to a dog to a
No.
cheetah.
No.
That's
That
not
is
it.
really
That's fundamentally flawed.
adaptation is like a rabbit in the winter changing his coat to white. That's
All
an adaptation.
adaptation is
Nothing changes
evolution.
about the DNA or the genes. Those genes were always there.
Listen, all adaptation is evolution, but not all evolution is adaptation.
So I think it's in the genes that the difference is. Adaptation, the genes are there with them already. Evolution is adding different genes to create something else.
It's
That
just
is
a
the
change
difference.
in allele frequencies.
So they're not the same.
Are we aware of like
Adaptation.
this is really simple to explain. There's such a thing as de novo gene synthesis, right? Are you familiar with how new genes are incorporated into a genome?
I'm not.
So
Help me.
usually what happens, there's like multiple different methods for this, but basically one of the easiest ways to explain it is like co-optioning a gene network. So in butterflies, there are genes that are necessary for making eyes. They had a genome duplication event, and now some of those genes that are necessary for making eyes have been co-opted and modified. Just shut the fuck up. Have been co-opted and modified to do wing pattern coloring. And that's like brand new information.
No, I'm not doing that.
Jesus Christ, that was
Thank
so
you.
fucking tough.
I
Man.
appreciate that.
But like literally, this is like a common mechanism. So it's just Google de novo gene synthesis. There's like 20 different mechanisms for this. It is new information.
Yeah. While
And
you're
I
at
mean,
it, if you're actually interested in the theory, you should look up cladistics,
Hold
so
on,
you
we
can
need
understand that
to
we
get Ravis
can't
up.
evolve out of our common ancestor.
Ravis specializes in bonobo and chimpanzee studies.
hold on. I need to address something in the comments. No, chickens are not related to the T-Rex.
Bean, what was the thing you said?
Hey, brother, hold on. I'm addressing something in the comments. Like I said, chickens are not the fucking offspring of T-Rex. I don't know who told you that, but they just lied straight to your face, my boy. All dinosaurs are or all birds are dinosaurs. But yeah, chickens are not related to the T-Rex
Well, they're in the
at all.
dinosaur clade, though, right?
They're in. I think birds are theropods to be more specifically. Like,
No, they're manoraptors.
oh, they are.
But all birds are part of the dinosaur clade, are they not?
All birds are manoraptors.
Oh well, shit, I didn't know that. But I mean, yeah, they would be. I mean, like they're reptiles as well.
And you can't evolve out of your clade. So
Is-
Like how all tigers are cats, like how all chickens are dinosaurs, all humans are apes.
And more
Chickens
more
aren't
specific,
dinosaurs.
chickens
well,
are
a human is a
dinosaurs.
great ape. All humans are monkeys if you're looking from the cladistics point of view. So we didn't evolve out of apes. An ape wasn't our ancestor, a monkey was. So that's how that works.
From the simiforms. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, simiiforms, yeah.
Yep.
And it's
Yeah.
amazing how many people have no problem admitting that they're a mammal or a primate, but as soon as you introduce monkey into the equation, they take great exception to being called a monkey. And most still don't have a problem being called an ape, those that do believe in evolution. But the monkey is the
Hold on,
linchpin.
water. Hold on,
Go ahead,
water.
man.
No, you're perfectly fine. Somebody's no. Somebody said dinosaur bones are in museums are hard plastic. That's why you can't touch them. No, it's the same fucking reason why you can't fucking touch the Mona Lisa. You
Why you're urged not
ill-informed
to touch
individual.
stalactites.
You ill-informed individual.
I have a question.
And I might have an answer. Go for it.
Okay, so
He kind of looks like you, Snapped. No offense.
Wow, bro. Now he's gonna think that you're calling him ugly.
No. You belong to the same tribe. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, no. Hey, all jokes aside, we actually do kind of look alike, like same facial hair and everything. But go ahead.
all right, twin. So I'm asking, like, I'm in, like, genuinely asking, like, I'm not claiming to have the answer. That's why I'm asking.
Okay.
If we come, so does every like because from my understanding, right, it's like the modern humans come from Africa, but that's the like the theory and stuff. But what about like not modern humans kind of thing? It's another like classification of like Homo sapien or whatever kind of thing. So okay,
Well,
we all come from apes or precursors to like
mhm.
humanity, but like is every single race like because like is every single race connected to the same precursors
Yes.
All
or
humans are Africans. We are classified as African
well
apes.
that's not true because Africa is like the midpoint, so before Africa there was like a whole like other pantheon like before Africa was Kemet and things like that.
Sir, we're African apes. We're not European apes. We're not Asian apes. We're African apes.
So
But
look,
I believe we're from Antarctica. I believe we don't have the information.
Incorrect.
We don't have the technology to like prove it.
We
Um,
do.
no, we don't. How do
Oh,
we?
we do.
hold
How?
on, hold on. I thought you were coming in here to ask questions, not make claims.
Okay, well, I know that we didn't come from Africa
How do you know that we don't come from Africa if we supposedly don't have the information for it?
because
Or
Africa is like
Antarctica?
a modern term.
Do you
Okay.
know where we find the oldest bones of hominids? Do you know where
Right,
we
but
find them?
you can't see any issues on trying to find bones in Antarctica. You don't see how we wouldn't be able to like prove that.
Can I
And
take this one?
Go ahead,
Go for
Water.
it. Go ahead, Water.
Okay. All right. So through DNA and the genealogical record, right, we can trace our ancestry back to everybody who didn't come from Africa, or sorry, no, I screwed that up. To the out of Africa events,
okay.
right? So to those populations that migrated out of Africa. And there was a very limited population that actually migrated out of Africa that then populated the rest of the entire planet. So we can trace through our genealogy our ancestry back to those major out of Africa events. And there's very limited ethnic diverse, like actual genealogical diversity within the human population. And the greatest variance that does exist is those tribes that still are within Africa, like just
Right.
kind of highlighting the ridiculousness of our differences, that's out of Africa and even within Africa, but because there was only a very limited amount of out of Africa population that actually went out and populated the rest of the entire planet. So that's not a question. It's not a debate among in the science at all.
But it is, because here's
But it
why,
isn't.
right? No, because it's the oldest that we know of, and every time we go underneath the ocean or something like that, we're always finding new species, new things. It doesn't mean they don't exist. It just means we don't know about them. So, for example, Antarctica, they say that every 200 to 300 years, there's a pole switch, and we're still in the ice age to this very day. And there's proof, and
Goddamn ice age. Do you see a mile-high ice wall standing in Europe?
We're at
Bro.
the end of an ice age.
but we're still in the ice age right now. And
We're in the middle of one. We are not in the middle
Yeah,
of one.
when anti-evolutionists bring up the ice age, they start talking about ice walls and the flat
I'm
Earth.
not anti-evolutionist. I'm just stating the facts that there's a whole continent that no one's allowed to go to. If you're not government, if you're not military or whatever,
You can. There are
Hold
people
on.
who do.
Like
Hold on,
government and
Christopher.
military
Hold on,
can't
Christopher.
go to it.
Well,
They
no,
do
the
though.
reason why is because, for one, it's literally a giant ass nature preserve. It's one of the last places that have not been,
I got a friend who
desecrated.
coming up in 3 weeks is a flight that goes over Antarctica.
Right, but you're only going to like the end.
No. He's literally going all the way through Antarctica.
bullshit.
Like that's how his flight log is projected. He's literally going over Antarctica. Not just
Is this going to become like a flat Earth debate or something, or what's going on here? Why are we talking
It's
about
not flat Earth. It's simple facts. If it's a preserve that we haven't untapped yet, how do we know we're not going to find bones that are way older than Africa?
It's not that it's
hold on, Scribble. Literally, Africa is known as the cradle of humanity. We
Right.
literally hold on. We literally, every single human fossil, not just Homo sapien, not just Homo neanderthal, not just Denisovans, not just Homo erectus, literally every single Homo species in the clade has been found in Africa. Nowhere else, except maybe for the exception of Homo erectus being in Europe and shit. But
In Australia. What are you talking about?
That's the
Bro,
Denisovans, right?
I thought
yes,
Neanderthals evolved in Europe and Asia though from
Again,
they
Heidelbergensis.
did.
Isn't that right?
The
They did.
Neanderthals would still belong to a common ancestor.
Well, I'm
that
not
came
arguing about that, but I'm saying that they evolved in Europe and Asia. I didn't think that there
Yeah.
were actually because like Homo sapiens actually evolved in Africa.
Yeah.
Neanderthals actually
I'm not
went back
denying
to
that.
Africa
I'm not
as
denying
well.
that.
Neanderthals
Neanderthals
Africa
actually
played
been
its
found in
part.
Africa too.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I
Well,
didn't know
even
that either till recently.
the Levant encapsulates much of northern Africa, so even in the biblical standard,
It's the Horn
would
of
have been
Africa
made-
to Yemen to southern Mesopotamia.
they would have been made still in Africa. They would have been put on Earth still in Africa.
Right, but that's only like Israel. There's the house of Israel. There's Eden. You know, there's Kemet. There's
I am
things
talking
that
Adam and Eve.
predate.
I'm talking literally the beginning of all human genealogy in the Bible. They were still placed around Ethiopia.
No, they weren't.
Yeah, when they were cast down
Yes,
to Earth.
they were.
No, they weren't.
Like even in the biblical standard, they're put into the Levant, which encapsulates much of northern Africa, including Egypt.
Yeah,
and
I'm not
some
disagreeing with
areas
that.
of-
I'm not
and in
disagreeing.
some areas of Western Asia.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that. But what I'm saying is like there's a lot of there's a lot of evidence that is being suppressed about us starting from like the Arctic, or you know, if the poles would have flipped, then instead of the North Pole is now the South Pole, and South Pole would have been the North
What
Pole.
secret information do you think that they're hiding? Like what benefit? What would be the reason that they would hide that human life started in Antarctica? What super secret Freemason fucking hoobly googly shit? do you think that
Okay,
they're
well,
hiding?
it's not hoogly moogly shit. It's the fact that every government, every superpower is
Jesus.
every superpower is based on like a
Okay,
religious
dude, we can
order.
Hold
actually
on,
figure
hold on.
out. What I was
No.
gonna ask was like we can actually figure out where exactly humans are from due to our characteristics. So the first thing, in order for you to live in a place that's very cold, you need what? Large amounts of fat, right?
Okay.
I'm not fat.
Enough fat for you to insulate your heat.
Right.
The second thing,
Yeah.
second thing you need is either the ability to swim very well, have wetted hands and feet. That's the second thing we might need because we
Also,
might
another
need a
thing.
fish.
I'm sorry, but I just thought of this. What were humans eating in Antarctica?
It wasn't frozen
Remember,
back then.
Antarctica wasn't frozen all the way back in time.
Yeah, like bro.
Okay,
come
but
on.
my thing is, but how long ago are we talking? Because if
Oh,
humans,
yeah,
The beginning of
7 million
humanity,
years.
bro.
7 million
Yeah.
years.
7 million years.
I like to ask this
Six
guy
to
a question if I
7
could.
million years.
We're talking before we humans existed.
Yeah.
And that's why if you went under all the permafrost or whatever, that you would actually end up finding fossils. But the thing is now it is such a desolate place that almost no life can survive on it. And if you are even a very experienced explorer that knows the trekked parts of Antarctica and how to navigate, you can still take the wrong step, fall
Yeah.
300 feet down into a glacier and unalive. So like it's just very dangerous to be there. It's super, super cold.
So
and
is
also
space.
one wrong step is it for you.
Yeah, my father was stationed in Antarctica when he was in the Navy. So if you guys got any questions, I can always give him a holler. If you want
Yeah,
to know.
powdered snow is very dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually very little humidity in Antarctica because it's all frozen. So the humidity is almost zero, and what you'll find is that I mean, my dad used to arc from the door handles like 2 feet away because there was so much static electricity. But I mean, he was stationed there during the summertime, which means that there was a very close to 24-hour sun at McMurdo Station. It just would kind of slowly circle the horizon. But I mean, no human civilization has lived in Antarctica only until recent centuries
No,
where people are
I want
stationed on
I,
research
it's
stations.
I
reverse.
want to
It's
add something really
reverse.
quickly. I want to add something really quickly. So, y'all were right. Antarctica was not completely frozen 7 million years ago,
Mhm.
but
It
I
wasn't.
wanted to see. Hold on. I wanted to see what organisms might be living there, and really,
There
the
was
only
some
thing I
like
hold on. The only thing that came up was it was becoming like a tundra, right? Lichens, mosses, and stuff like that. So,
they think
I,
woolly mammoth extinction might have played a role in the permafrost building
what
and the
in
tundra being
They
Antarctica?
destroyed.
fast froze. They froze immediately.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did. It's in the CIA declassified files. You
Yeah,
can go into the CIA's website and
what
look
if
up
it
the true
is?
story of Adam and Eve. It's all right there for you.
Holy fuck. Elian, can I ask you a question, bud?
What up?
Okay.
Okay. So, say you got with a lady, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was the question of whether or not that child that was born because of your dalliance was yours or not. And a DNA test came back and it showed you were the father. Would you accept that child as your own?
Um.
It's a yes or a no. It's not a maybe. It's a yes or a no. It doesn't require a lot of thought. Let's hear it.
Yes.
Okay. So you accept DNA as an evidence-based approach that you would change your entire life and adopt a child for its entire life based on that DNA evidence. Evolution is entirely DNA based.
Right. I'm not. I agree with everything you guys agree with. I just think there's more to the story beyond Africa. That's the only difference.
Okay.
Exist in Antarctica. I mean, the beginning of life on this Earth most likely began in heat vents near volcanoes deep in the ocean.
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with the landmass Antarctica.
Right, but you know why it's like it flooded, right? That's why it's frozen. It flooded. So
Well, there was a pretty
And the global flood.
in the what? I believe that there was multiple floods. Yes,
the ice age has caused floods.
that's what I'm saying. Like the poles have shifted. Like Antarctica is definitely, like in my opinion, I believe in everything you believe up to in Africa. I just don't believe that's our origin. I believe that's our midway point. But I don't believe. I believe we either started in America, or in North America, or we started in Antarctica.
Well,
Okay,
we
let's
know where the American
hold on.
people and when they started.
How would we have even gotten to Africa?
The same way that they brought West African slaves, but in reverse.
Okay, but so what were they going across the sea in? Hold on.
Probably
How,
ships.
what were those ships made of?
I don't know.
Come on, let's use our big boy brains. What was
Probably
the ships made of?
would.
Oh,
Probably would.
and what is not in Antarctica?
What?
Wood.
Trees.
You think there was no trees before it was frozen? You really
Even when it
believe
was in
that?
7 million
tundra.
years ago, there were no fucking trees in Antarctica. Lichen and mosses. It was a tundra environment.
Yeah.
Where's
and
your source?
Bro, you read something like for 2 seconds and now you're the expert. Like, come on, bro.
What are you talking about 7 million years for anyway, as far as modern
Because
humans are
Be,
concerned?
be,
It just
because
It doesn't matter.
we're
I
talking
mean
about
because
the origin of humanity.
Yeah. Well,
so,
the
so
origin of humanity
the
is
human
7 million
ancestral
years old.
population 7 million years ago sure the fuck couldn't make a boat.
How do you know
exactly
that?
because they
Because there's no Homo sapien type
Bro, you can't even
fossils from
build a
that.
shed, and these guys are building
I
pyramids.
can
You
build a
really think
shed.
they're on their
Yeah,
level?
I can build
I
a
can
shed,
build a
man.
shed.
you don't know
Bro,
what we
It's
can
be
build.
like
Yeah,
super stable.
I
those
know you
kits are
can't
super
build
Can you tell
simple.
me?
pyramids.
Can
I
you
know
show to
that.
me evidence of a 7 million-year-old boat?
Look, I know
I'm
how to do
curious.
waddle and daub. I
You
know
do
how to do
realize that
waddle and daub.
Antarctica is close to the Americas, right? You
No, it's
realize
not.
that it's not that like.
Well, if anybody explored to Antarctica, it would be the Polynesians. They're by far
Okay,
the
yeah,
closest.
whoever it was. They say
Okay,
I mean,
Polynesians are the
but
original.
my
there
point is,
are
but
some theories that say that there were visitors there from Polynesia in
Huh.
the 7th century, 17th 16th century. I got to look it up again, but
Not the
yeah, I mean
17th.
there is theories, but not a lot of evidence.
So
Look,
how old is the
all that
Earth?
aside,
How old is
all
the
that
Earth?
14 billion years old.
Okay, so
The
it's
Earth?
14
No,
billion
that's
years
The
old.
4.5.
Earth?
Oh, I'm tripping.
That's not
Wait,
Earth.
Okay, hold on.
4.5.
So it's 14 billion years old.
No,
No, no, it's
4.5.
not.
No,
Okay,
it
then
is.
how old is it?
4.5.
Okay,
4.6, yeah.
4.5 billion. Or,
Yes.
Go ahead.
okay, so if it's 4.5 billion and we can only trace things back to hundreds of thousands of years, you don't think there's probably something out there that the world hasn't then you're ignorant.
No,
Well,
we can trace stuff back
there's things we haven't
hundreds of
discovered,
millions of
but
years.
not primatology. Primatology is a really recent species in the kingdom of Animalia. Like species isn't the right word, but
I
it's a
will.
really recent family,
Wait.
man. It's not that
No.
old.
I would say that like modern humans, yes, they
No,
originated
primates,
in Africa.
primates,
Modern humans, yes,
the
but like our
entire
precursors, no.
primates, though.
No.
But look,
Like primates haven't been around that long.
you're overlooking the fact that in order for these humans, let's say
You
humans
weren't
did
humans.
hold on. In order for humanity to start in Africa, like you said,
There
number
would have had to
one,
be humans.
hold on. Number one, apes would have had to have evolved in Antarctica, right? Like they would have had to have. Two, there would have had to have been trees on Antarctica for those eventual humans, because I know that the first motherfuckers wasn't humans, but for the eventual modern humans to leave Antarctica, there's not. Three, there had to have been, hold on, there had to have been big game on Antarctica. Literally the only thing that's there
Mammoths.
now, hold on. Literally the only thing that exists on Antarctica now are penguins and seals. Back then, it probably would have been maybe like one or two more things.
Okay, and you
Not much
realize that
different. Hold
95% of
on.
species are already extinct. Like what was going
Oh
on
my
back
fucking
then
god.
is nothing like it is today.
My
No,
I
point
think
is,
like
I think we
our
need a new
world
I
is
think we need a new op. I think
all
we
right.
need a new op. And
I
But
like
guess
they're
you're done.
already extinct.
Electric Space Potatoes just joined just joined this live, and he's the man. So he'd be a good person to have up here.
A lot of them are because of us. Like a lot of those extinctions events are because of us or because of some other great big disaster. It has nothing to do whether or not they were like a spacefaring conquering like people with like super advanced technology.
That just hurt my brain. That just hurt my brain to the
We're
fucking
all dumber
biggest.
for having listened to that conversation.
You know, they say when a wise man argues with a fool, he becomes a fool.
Yeah, but he
No,
was
it's
getting ready
literally.
to talk about the Hollow Earth. It was going to be real cool. You know that's where
Hey
he's
man.
going.
Hey
Yeah.
man. I think it would be cool too, but I mean like,
Hollow Earth or concave Earth?
no, I'm more personal to isosceles triangular Earth.
So if
Like,
anybody actually
bro,
had like some detailed questions about evolution to increase our understanding, Electric Space Potatoes could probably answer them. Sorry to
I
call
just
you out there, Electric Space Potatoes, but I've just heard and see you speak.
the
No,
blind leading the blind.
There's definitely more people out there who know more than I do, but is
well,
broad strokes. I think I know it pretty well.
Stop
Elliot,
being humble, okay?
yeah,
We
that's
have to blaze
really
you.
humble.
hold
We have
on.
to blaze you.
I need to address a comment. The blind leading the blind. Elion, you're literally ignoring so much empirical evidence, so many fossil findings of not even just Homo sapiens, not even just Neanderthals, not even just Homo erectus, not even just Homo heidelbergensis. Literally every single one of them mugs that was in the human family tree has been found in Africa, not Antarctica. In what? Let's say it together, kids. Africa. No, I'm not the expert. But you think, you know what? You know what? I'm
That's
not even gonna do this.
that's base, right?
Hush.
That's base understanding. Um, which is I think I'm like point 0.2 level above base, and that's not a matter of contention amongst any serious discussion about evolution.
And another thing, Super Soup, no, the hollow earth is not real.
Jesus Christ.
Jeez Louise.
So I haven't been here for all that long, but why are we claiming that humans originate from Antarctica exactly?
Apparently, because we just had a guy up that was arguing this, but apparently because no other countries can go to Antarctica. No other country's allowed to go there, and I don't even
But
fucking remember
tourists
what the
go
fuck.
there all the time.
I know, but
It wasn't a conversation worth having.
from what I heard, the reason why countries can't claim territory on there is just so that, and I correct me if I'm wrong. It's just so that way they can't, boom boom Antarctica and cause like tsunamis.
Oh yeah, let's get him back up.
Yeah, let me.
No,
explain.
no, no,
Richard
no.
Byrd, look what he discovered.
No, hold on. I'll give you one chance to ask like a genuine question. Otherwise, like I just can't.
If, okay, very limited patience.
Is
We've got
it
one shot.
possible? Is it possible that we haven't found the remains or fossils or whatever, of precursors to humanity, maybe in places like Antarctica that
No,
used to not
No,
be frozen?
no.
Eh,
no. The answer to your
So
question is no.
How?
Because listen,
No,
I'm
wait,
sorry.
wait. I'd like
Go
to give
ahead.
Electric Space Potatoes because he's going to elucidate the point probably than the rest of us combined.
Okay, so I'm going to be a little bit more charitable than some of the other people on the panel, and I'll say no, it's not impossible. But in order to show that there's anything to consider, you would have to demonstrate that you'd have to go out there and field some remains. We have a really good model of out of Africa, and there's a really good record, even considering the poor environment for fossilization in Africa, for precursors to hominids and other African apes. So if you're going to overturn that, you have to show something else. Because in science, when you're trying to overturn a paradigm, you can't just say, well, could it be that the paradigm is wrong? That's not how science works. Science works when you have a better option. So even if like you brought forward a model that equally well explained the facts, that wouldn't be necessarily a reason to abandon the model that we have for our explanation of the world. You have to be able to explain things better, because oftentimes when people are proposing alternative models, they aren't as parsimonious. So they introduce variables that they just extend the number of moving parts to make the model work. Does that make sense?
Agree with you. I'm just saying that, like, I believe in that out of Africa theory in terms of modern humans, but I'm talking about the precursor, whatever we were prior to becoming the modern humans. It wasn't human, whatever it was that was in Antarctica, but like it's a
So,
precursor to us.
So I'm talking about that as well. What you're talking about is likely an Australopith of some variety. But yeah, we have specimens that lead up to humans. Like very, very late Australopiths are nigh indistinguishable from early hominids.
Right, and I agree with that. Like, I'm just saying,
And
it's a
all of
theory.
these specimens are out of Africa.
You're right, but like we don't have as much archaeology in Antarctica than we do in Africa, right? So my thing
Right.
is I'm not saying that I know definitively. I'm just saying that I believe everything you believe. I just believe that Africa is the midway point versus the true origin. That's all I'm saying. And that's a belief. I don't know for sure, but that's like my belief based on, it does have to do with religion and stuff like that. So I understand it's not provable, it's not empirical evidence, but
Right.
it's my
So
theory.
that is the only concession that
And the
you
time
need to make.
dilation and semantics as well.
When you acknowledge that it's a religious belief, when you acknowledge that it's not a position based off of evidence, there's nothing for us to consider. It's not science.
Right now.
Right now, yeah, is science is always open to revising and adapting their models for new information. But right now, you don't have any information. Right now, you're making blatant and sweeping claims without
Right.
anything to back it up, and it's just not science.
Okay, right,
I
but
got a
isn't
science question for you, Ellie. I'm going to ask Electric Space Potatoes a question
okay.
because it's something I'm interested in. Thank you. Is like so that the event 900,000 years ago that reduced the human population or the human ancestral population to down to about 1,280 breeding pairs. What would have been the human ancestor name that existed at that time?
I think that would have been. It wouldn't have been Homo sapiens. Likely Homo habilis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
thought it was
That's
If I'm
Abergensis.
remembering that correctly.
I thought it was Homo sapiens as well.
I thought it was
no, we
No,
Abergensis.
Homo
no.
sapiens is around 200 to 300,000 years.
Yeah, it's
Wait,
way prior to that. Yeah.
I could have swore that there was also an event about 70,000 years ago that did the same thing.
It's possible. I'm not familiar.
Can I
900
just ask this?
900,000 years ago was the 1,280 base pairs, and they say that it was around that same amount of population, that near extinction event, for about 100,000 years. So we were very close as far as our ancestral population being wiped out for about 100,000 years.
You ever wonder if like any of like the shit that we have to deal like the I guess like mental illnesses or stuff like it might come from that, like the reason why it's so prevalent?
They actually posit that that was a huge reason for our advancement, is that natural selection reduced that ancestral population to those that were really that had something, that were intelligent, right?
Huh.
That were highly adaptive, and so that way, and out of that 1,280 breeding pairs that were able to survive, they obviously were a lot better at it than the majority of the human population that existed at the time. It was over 90+% that population reduction. So it's just like anything. Like if there was an apocalypse now, right?
Mhm.
Who would survive? Those that are the most adaptable and the most the most
Or the
able
most money.
to. Well, money's only going to get you so far,
I mean,
right?
I mean in the sense of like having a bunker or something.
Sure, but like I understand what the point you're making, but you understand the point I'm making. Back then, nobody
Yeah.
had money, so it was just those that were the most proficient at surviving in this harsh climatic condition, which was the cause for the near extinction event,
So
right?
what about the stoned ape theory? Like, what do you give any credence to that or no?
There's actually I think that's debunked. Like I think that's
Is
been
it?
debunked a long time ago.
What's your thought,
Like
Electric Space Potatoes, on that? Because that is a fascinating
And
story. Like
I also wanted to ask a question.
well, I think what it did is like it didn't cause human intelligence gaining, but it just made people wanna um get to know each other better a lot more, if you catch my drift. It made people active more than usual. So that really is like it just made people want to
Isn't that
reproduce
Oh, you're
more.
talking about the three F's:
I
fight,
what do you
flight,
what are your
and yeah.
what are your thoughts on that, Electric Space Potatoes, about the introduction of psychedelics, that the human
You gotta censor
ancestral
yourself.
population at the time was like following around mammals, like sorry, like larger mammals that then crapped, and then these mushrooms grew out of the crap, and they were psychedelic, and they ate them, and they expanded their consciousness.
I so I can't say anything super specific about it. The only thing that it seems to me, and again, I'm not very familiar, is that it smacks of storytelling. And this is something that happens very often especially in evolutionary psychology or in evolution, like science communication in general. We tend to invent stories to explain particular adaptations. in order to justify a specific progression in traits. I don't know that we could establish whether or not that was ever the case, but I don't give it a whole lot of credence.
Do you think my
Thanks.
Antarctica theory is like completely like out of whack, or do you think that like, because my thing is science, you know, is updated every day, right? So it's like all it takes is one fossil to be found, and like, you know, the whole out of Africa theory is completely debunked. So do you think it's as crazy as they were making it seem, that, oh, I'm just, you know, a wacko kind of thing?
So here's what I'll say. Even if you're right, Outer Africa is still the correct model.
For now.
Nothing.
No.
No. Even
No.
if you're right. So
For
let
modern
me see if I
humans?
can explain that. So we know for a fact we can do genetic tracing. We can look at like archaeological sites, and they all radiate in age out of Africa. Now, you could argue that prior to leaving Africa, humans had migrated to Antarctica and then returned to Africa and left again and radiated throughout the rest of the globe. That could have happened, but you would need to be able to demonstrate that happened. And right now, there's really no reason to suggest that was possible. I know that that the ocean that they would have had to have traversed are some of the most dangerous in the world. So
But the
it just
South Pole would have been the North Pole back then. So if they're saying that natives came from the Bering Strait, then instead of coming in, they could have been going out.
okay.
Into
So
Siberia,
that's a
into Africa.
misconception. So I think what you're talking about is magnetic poles.
Yeah.
Okay, so the magnetic pole, it does shift over time, but that does not affect the geographic pole. The southern geographic pole does not change. The planet does not flip on its head. The magnetic field can shift, but that doesn't affect the rotation of the planet.
But wouldn't that cause like a flood or an ice age or something like that?
No. So glacial periods are largely they're influenced by two primary factors. One is solar irradiance, and the other is the Milankovitch cycle. So the pole can the angle that the planet rotates, it wobbles by a couple like tenths of a degree. And that can affect the amount of solar irradiation that actually gets absorbed by the planet. That's largely what affects ice ages.
North Poles they are.
Sorry, what was that?
Poles are there.
One.
It depends on what you mean. So there's the magnetic North Pole, there's the geographic North Pole. So in any given context, there's one, but there are multiple contexts that you could be talking about.
But don't those magnetic poles, like even if they don't completely shift, aren't they always moving?
Yeah, they're usually moving, but that's the magnetic poles.
Yeah, the magnetic poles. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we learned from the neutrino.
Learned what?
So I have one more question. This one I understand is completely like skeptical, right? Like I don't like, but I'm curiously like really want to like know your thoughts on it. So if there's ice walls, right? They're 200 feet tall and like they're very big, right? So is there land beyond the ice walls, or is there like some sort of like ending point, like?
No.
Okay.
There's nothing.
So here's a cool thing for you to look up. We actually have had ice walls in not just the world, but just on the North American continent. So there's a really neat region of the U.S. Called the Scablands. These you'll find just random giant boulders strewn about. There's a very rolling landscape with like random divots in it, where everything seems like there's no old growth. So the cool thing about it is that these areas are scablands because there was a super massive flood as the result of a ice dam breaking. So we kind of know the structural like properties of giant walls of ice, and what tends to happen when like temperatures vary from very specific conditions. So
What do you know
the
about
idea
spectroscopy?
Yeah, I know a little bit about that. What's up?
Fundamental particles theory.
I don't quite understand what
Morpheus.
spectroscopy has to do with fundamental particles. Could you
Try
elaborate?
again? Try again, Morpheus. You haven't asked a question yet.
What about the? Are you aware of the spectroscopy? That's all I was asking.
Yeah, as it can be used to determine the elemental content of a substance.
Humans are not animals because animals are created beings who have a personality which animates pretty much behavior rather than actually.
No. Incorrect.
I think we
Electric
have
space
him on.
potatoes.
Misinformation.
You are a really good teacher. I meant that. No, I meant that. That was a sincere compliment. Like,
No, you really are.
Thanks for joining the live and
No worries.
Yeah.
Scribble, I'm not gonna lie. After that whole ass thing, I'm mad at you for saying that was my twin. We can't be friends anymore. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know, Juana.
Damn, I'm not gonna lie, Scribble. Like to think I thought you were a handsome lad. I'm taking that back. I'm taking that thought back. Platonically, of course. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I just didn't want to make nobody uncomfortable.
I want Scribble's hair. I'd actually settle for anybody's fucking hair myself. But yeah, I want Scribble's hair.
Hold up. I
didn't mean any disrespect.
I just washed my shit today. Hold up. I gotta flex real quick. Give me a second.
How dare you? I just learned. Oh, look at that. Oh yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that.
I'm gonna turn this off. Yeah.
I'd cut it right away, but I'd take it.
Yeah, I got good ass hair.
Yeah, you do, man. Yeah, I do not. I've got the cul-de-sac baldness going on, or the toilet seat baldness. It's you can't do anything with it. You got to shave your head. That's your one fucking option. That's all you got, right? Is with the cul-de-sac or toilet seat baldness.
That's unfortunate, bro. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I got a hot wife with big tits. It's fine.
I gotta drop you for that.
Oh, do I? All right. Yeah.
I'm gonna let you back up. Let you back up.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah, water.
You can't describe your wife in that type of mentality.
Yeah, I refuse. I just got fucking off. I just got off probation for 3 days, water. I refuse. Oh yeah, I added you on my other account. I don't think you saw it. It's Higashi Kato or whatever.
Oh, you're Higashi Kato? Okay, I didn't know who that was, so I'm really trepidatious about who I follow and who I join. I'll now that makes a lot more sense. And yeah, and as far as no, she's the best. She's amazing. She's an awesome career woman, super intelligent, and yeah, she I shouldn't have said that. Fair, but yeah, I love her to bits. She's amazing.
So Water, I got a quick question for you.
Yep.
Okay, so there is the bald dad theory. Is it true you got like two daughters? Is
No,
it true?
no, one I
Damn.
got no, I got I got
What
one
is
son
this?
and what a bald dad theory that all bald dads have daughters, I guess.
Yes.
Okay. So I can weigh in on this and easily disprove it. So all of my siblings, including myself, are bald. We have my mother has one granddaughter out of 9 kids.
Yeah, my son's freaking out like Pope in the comments. My son's freaking out because he's looking at me and going, "Is this my future?" I'm like, "No, don't worry. It's from your mother's line. It is from your mother's line, right? The baldness gene is from your mother's line, not your father's.
The crazy thing
There is
is,
some influence on whether or not you go bald on the from your father.
Is it? I'm not going to tell him that. I'm going to let him remain ignorant of that fact and hope that it isn't true. Because
well,
he looks at his hairline and he's like, "Is this happening?" I'm like, "Dude, you're 16 years old." I'm like, "It's not. It's okay."
no, I've literally seen people in high school started to go bald. Like that's actually a possibility.
It is a possibility, but he's not. Yeah.
All right, Jason.
Jason,
Hello,
Hello.
hello. What do you got to say about the
evolution.
prompt?
How can evolution be true?
Really,
How,
Haru?
How can
how can it
evolution?
be true? Uh,
Yeah.
Electric Space Potatoes is going to say something, so go ahead.
It can be true if we can demonstrate that it happens.
So how can we
Pretty.
demonstrate it then?
There's a couple different ways. You could look at genetics. You could look at the fossil record. You can use comparative dating. There's a whole bunch of different
My
ways to
favorite,
demonstrate.
my favorite to add to that is observed evolution.
I would like
And
to agree
where
that all humans are apes because my penis is an ape penis. It's fucking huge.
Oh my fucking god, bro.
and where do y'all think different languages come from? Because I have a source that I can pull up why.
Where do you think different languages come from?
Jason, do
Yeah.
you speak English?
Yes.
How long ago do you think you would have to go to not be able to understand English?
I don't know.
So if I threw you back 500 years, do you think you'd be able to understand English?
I do not know.
I would say probably not. So languages evolve just like populations of organisms do. I actually just went through this little experiment with my wife. But you can look at how languages evolve because we know how they sounded, and you can look at specifically the lineage of English, and it's around 600 years that modern English speakers can't understand, like the precursors of English speakers.
Then why
So
were you
just
saying after 500?
as 500 is where you could just barely like understand a few words, but after about 600 years, it's just like nothing. It's totally foreign language.
What if I like studied that like beforehand?
Well,
You'd
then
be
you
learning a
could.
second language.
How? English is English.
I would encourage you to look up English from 600 years ago and tell
Okay.
me that English is English.
But can I give you the reason why I believe there are different languages?
You're more than welcome to.
Because in Genesis chapter 11, like the
Yeah.
tower they were forming to like defy God and that kind of stuff.
And there's no reason to think that that happened.
Why?
So you can actually look at historians, because there is a small grain of truth to the Tower of Babel story. There was, I don't remember the civilization, but literacy rates dropped as a result of more or less like political upheaval. And so the Tower of Babel stories likely arise from people not knowing how to read and write cuneiform anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That is wicked to know now.
So are you saying that like God didn't create the earth in 6 days?
Big space.
I don't see any reason to think that that happened.
It like if we do the math and say this Earth is 6,000 years old, because on certain planets, if we compare it to like a different planet's like elliptical range, technically on a certain planet, the Earth would be 6,000 years of age. Because if we do a simple math problem and do 4.5 billion divided by 6,000, we'll get about 750,000. So if we have like a planet that ellipted their star.
Jason,
Mm-hmm.
do you believe in Noah's Ark?
Yeah, it's a metaphor.
So it didn't actually happen.
I don't know.
Okay. So here's the deal. You don't accept evolution, right?
God created evolution.
Okay. You're perfectly entitled to that position. What would convince you that the age of the Earth is older than 6,000 years?
I agree. In Earth years, the age of the Earth is above 6,000. But like if we compare it to like a different planet that like goes around their star every 750,000 years, and we're talking about like their year, the Earth would be 6,000 years of age under their year.
Okay. So can we talk about exclusively in Earth years?
Why?
It's easy conversion rates.
Oh, okay. So each year, Earth year that, like the Bible says, 6,000 years would be 750,000 true Earth years.
So can you work in Earth years exclusively?
Oh, okay. So the Earth is about 4.5 billion years with the conversions that I just did in my brain.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
You did those in your brain, did you?
Yeah, it went in my brain. I converted it so quickly.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Do you actually have a
So
question,
you and
Jason,
I
that
would
we
both
could work
agree.
with? Jason?
I don't know. I don't know
Y'all know
why
this
y'all
is Haru,
didn't.
right?
Yeah.
Who the fuck is Haru?
You.
This is Haru, you fucker.
How do you guys not? How do you not know?
I literally said at the beginning, really,
It is Haru. You.
This was
You
getting
shit
fun to get him
disturber.
walking back, though.
No. He's not serious.
Yes, I am serious right now.
Yeah,
I'm being
no.
completely serious.
Haru is a jokester. He doesn't believe in anything that he's saying. He just likes to. This is how he amuses himself and others. He was just.
Since y'all think I'm Haru,
He was just.
bye,
He was up
everyone.
here.
I'm not Haru.
Yeah,
He's our court. He's our court jester.
yeah, he was just up here as a
Don't think that I
moderator.
was fooled by that.
Oh, yeah. Oh
Yes, he's my
God,
little court gesture.
my
Yeah,
goodness gracious.
kind of annoyed because we actually had a guest up, and then wasted time. I'm broke. It is what it is.
So here's a question for you, Electric Space Potatoes. So what is the largest flood that occurred and the related land mass in the geological record? Do you know?
Oh, I have no idea.
Uh,
Yeah, I have no idea. I think if I had to take a guess, it's it's gonna be some kind of glacial flood. But I'm not sure if it would have been like Doggerland or in the Americas, because I know there are some pretty big lakes that
what's
were formed by
Doggerland?
glaciers in those regions.
What's Doggerland? Where's that?
Oh, it's basically the entire Strait of Gibraltar. It's like the area between France and the UK.
Hmm. And what's your degree in electric space potatoes? Are you still in the process? I can't remember.
I don't have a degree.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
you've
I'm not even in school. I'm just an electrician.
well.
Wait, guys, you got a guess? Signal? Check at your age. TikTok.
Yep, 32.
All right, what you got to say about the topic?
Yeah, evidence against evolution. Origin of life. I've looked at some of what Dr. James Tour. He debates on the topic, and he's got a really strong argument that they're not anywhere close, like, and they, anywhere close to getting close to origin of life. He's a organic chemist that develops molecules, and he kind of makes the case and debates other people that are doing origin of life research, and it's always a couple years away. It's been like that for decades.
Well, I mean,
So, in what way does that address evolution?
Yeah, Signal, because you're speaking about abiogenesis.
Yeah.
Do you understand, Signal, that evolution starts after abiogenesis with the first life form, or Luca?
I mean,
First life form.
yeah,
That's when the most related to us.
I'm sampling that clanging sound effect, by the way.
okay, well then, I mean, it's still the original evolution.
No, evolution. So sorry, Signal. Just so we're clear, there's no contested fact among evolutionary biologists that states that evolution doesn't start from the first life form or Luca. Abiogenesis, anything prior to that, is not the evolutionary theory. It's not part of it.
Just a quick correction.
But hold on.
Yeah,
Luca
please do.
is
Please
not
do.
the first life form.
Okay, go ahead.
Luca is the last universal common ancestor. There was very likely life before Luca, but the process by which descent occurred before then wasn't as clear cut. In order for evolution to be in order for the rules of evolution to hold sway, you need clear lines of descent. And prior to Luca, there's just too much horizontal gene transfer between all of this microbial life after abiogenesis to have clear descent.
Can we say that
lineages.
Can we say that Luca was the first DNA-based life form that we can trace our ancestry back to?
No.
They're the latest universal common ancestor, so it's just the most recent thing that we can trace our ancestry to.
Ain't that weird to think about though? Like there was other life forms that existed before, the common ancestors of every living thing on Earth.
Yeah, like if an alien landed on the planet, they very well couldn't. They might not be a DNA-based life form, for instance. Like there's other possibilities besides DNA-based life, but that's from which we descend is the DNA-based life forms.
These people are giving sound bites from internet atheists and pretending they know the topic. You're talking about us? Because if so, I mean, you could come up and prove us wrong. Stand on business. Stand on what you said. I'll accept you. I'll let you speak your piece. But anyways, do you have anything else you want to say, Signal?
Yeah, I mean, you can say it's not origin of life is separate from evolution, but that's fine. It's still the improbability of it isn't evidence against evolution. Origin of life is the part of the science of if there's no origin of life, there's no evolution. So you can call it semantic, you can call it whatever you want, but it still is evidence against evolution.
Well, it's what the science calls it. Signal. It's not what we're calling
Let's
it.
say
It's
that
what the science
I
calls
will
it.
grant you entirely, just point blank, that scientists have no idea how life arose. Does that mean that we don't know anything about how life has changed over time since life arose?
No, I mean, you can still deduce, I mean, and then get into other arguments. I think there's good arguments that go against evolution, explaining a lot of the scientific data in a different way.
Okay, I'd love to hear those.
Yeah, I mean, the oldest dinosaur, I mean, we're finding dinosaur bones hundreds of millions of years old, supposedly, to have soft tissue in them. That was totally unexpected, and there's not a scientific consensus to explain it. And if the dating methods around that are wrong, and dinosaurs in fact are not hundreds of millions of years old, how do we trust anything? How do we trust any of the dating methods?
That doesn't mean they're not
So check
hundreds
this
of
out.
millions.
So check this out. So there's this process. I forgot the name of it, but it's when minerals exchange biological matter and turns the tissue into stone. I forgot what the name of it is exactly, but that's basically what is happening. No, it's not fossilization. There's another name for it.
Well,
It's specifically.
It's not only just that. The reason why things are able to fossilize in most cases is because when things decompose, right? Like in most cases, they're either going to, get eaten by scavengers or, just decompose. And fossilization has to have, it's got to have very, very specific conditions. And I think it has to be an aerobic, meaning that there's no oxygen. So those soft tissues, that doesn't occur in every single dinosaur fossil. If that was the case, then you might have more prudence to your argument or credence or whatever. But that happened in how many? 3 that they found so far?
Quick correction,
No,
host.
hundreds or thousands.
Just
They've
correction,
found
host.
thousands.
Just now you're in my world. Without oxygen, it's anaerobic. Just quick
They have
correction.
and they have found thousands since the original discovery in 2001 by Mary Schweitzer. So they found thousands. There's creation labs right now researching it, and they're digging up their own fossils and finding soft tissue in them. And they've done,
Signal? Would you mind if I asked why Mary Schweitzer is no longer a creationist?
I don't think she ever was a creationist. She was a researcher. She's always been a researcher.
So Mary Schweitzer, in fact, went into the field of paleontology to prove the young Earth. And it was through her working in the field that she gave up her young Earth creationist positions.
I don't know if that's true, but she was working for the scientists that...
Yeah, please look up interviews with her. She feels that creationists who take her work and misrepresent it to mean something other than what it is, she gets very upset about it.
I don't care. I mean, I don't care what her opinion is. She discovered it, give her credit. But there's been research done since, and there's not a consensus. There's theories on how the soft tissue is preserved, but there's a lot of tests that have been done doing I don't know what you call it, but looking at decay rates, and they're not having success getting it back to hundreds of millions of years.
Are you talking about radioactive decay?
No, they're taking the idea that there's it's using iron is the theory that it somehow combines or There's a scientific process. That's their theory on why soft tissue is preserved. But
Okay, you're talking about the mechanism that Mary Schweitzer proposed, where iron actually acts as a
yeah,
preservative in high concentrations, which is why when we find soft tissues, they're in iron-rich deposits, as well as in very, very large bones that would have had a lot of like bone marrow, for example, something that has a lot of heme in it.
Just a pause here. I Spy in the comments here has some expertise to offer on this topic. Would you like to come up, I Spy?
The process is called biomineralization. I had to look it up, but that's the term. That's why you're able to find these detailed skin on fossilized, because it's not skin anymore. It's just minerals.
they've found, yeah, I mean, that's the explanation, but there's not a consensus that that explains it. That's a theory. It's not even a consensusly. It's not accepted fully. It's a theory that's still being tested.
Thing is that it already happens to living creatures themselves. Like there's a condition where even with humans that like we can't, that some people can't heal properly, and the skin that grows back is not, or the tissue that grows back is not the normal tissue. It's just bones or calcium deposits. That's, that's how it biologically happens. But to preserve the actual like creature, it gets buried in a lot of like sediment and put in an anaerobic environment for it to happen.
Yeah, I mean, but they're finding collagen. I mean, they're finding amino acids that make up collagen, and there's just, when you look at the decay rates, even when you look at the fact that it could be that iron process, that's the best theory that they have to explain it. There's a lot of evidence saying that even with that, the decay rates it still would decay way earlier than hundreds of millions of years. So then you say, well, okay, what does that prove? Well, that brings into question all the other assumptions that we have and all the dating methods, which are not always accurate. I mean, a lot of the times we're dating based on the layer that the fossil's in, and we're making assumptions.
But these aren't assumptions. These are stuff that we see happen in real life, like in real time to some things. Like if you bury something in sediment for long periods of time in an anaerobic environment, some of that will be exchanged with minerals called
Yeah,
biomineralization.
that's just normal fossilization. So that's what they never expected to find soft tissue or collagen molecules, because those eventually just turn into mineral stone. So fossilization
Exactly, it turns into a mineral stone that mimics how the skin or other soft tissues would have been. It's literally a process of like transfer of molecules. It takes a very long time for that to happen.
Yeah, but you're talking about fossilization. These fossils are hundreds of millions of years old, but they still have cellular structure. They
So
still have red.
I'd also like to. Okay, so no, they did not have cellular structure. These things had to be soaked in acid for days. But I'd also like to point out that the
No, they don't. They can slice into it and see the collagen in the blood vessel.
no.
I've literally seen them
There is
in a
heme,
lab slice it.
there is collagen. These are incredibly robust biomolecules. You're not going to
true.
get anything very sensitive out of these fossils. Like you're not going to find DNA.
Collagen is very resilient, but it's still, even with collagen, it's going to decay. And that's the argument that people are making, that this iron theory of preserving it by having iron absorb into it, even with that, to slow down the decay rate of a resilient molecule like collagen, it's not adding up. Like the amount of time to decay is not adding up. And they're finding other things continually. And if they find DNA in there, then even just a little piece of DNA, it's all over because DNA is way less resilient than a collagen molecule. So this is a big problem that's unresolved, and I'm not saying I have the answers or that it's totally, disproving evolution, but it's very interesting and it's a very big problem that, a lot of people just don't want to look at because they think, oh, well, there's an explanation that they have, but there's no consensus explanation. That's a problem. And the other explanation is that they're not as old as what we thought they were.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem for paleontologists.
There's a question that I need to ask. So you're describing science like, hey, here's an observation that's falling outside of our predicted models, because we need to remember that all models are wrong. Now, when science, like when somebody makes a observation that isn't predicted, then the next step is to propose mechanisms by which those observations could be explained. That's how science advances. So you're proposing how the iron is used as a preservative, and you're saying that there are other mechanisms that are being proposed to explain the longevity of these biomolecules. And what you're describing is the advancements of science and the advancement of our understanding about the natural world. Is you have to acknowledge that just because one particular observation can be unexplained doesn't invalidate every other observation that we make everywhere else, right?
Sure, yeah, no, but the thing that they're
so
not
when we're
looking at
talking
is
about the ages of particular things, there's lots and lots of different ways that we corroborate the age, especially of like volcanic rock. Volcanic rock is exceptionally easy to date, and there's several methods that we use to date it. And we don't just use one. We use several overlapping dating methods, and they all tend to corroborate each other outside of some confounding factors. And we tend to understand those.
okay, but not everything's buried in volcanic rock. I don't know that much about the paleontology side of it.
Well,
So I'm not
nothing's
gonna
buried in volcanic rock. Is what I'm talking about is just the age of the Earth.
Okay.
Yeah, because sometimes we'll find fossils and they're sandwiched between volcanic rock. So that means that we can know, without dating the fossil at all, that we can know the age of one volcanic layer and the other volcanic layer. And so the fossil must be dated between those dates, right? Because it was sandwiched
Yeah.
between two different volcanic eruptions.
Yeah, I mean that would make sense if the dating, which I don't know about paleontology. I don't know if there's debate on the dating of that, but do we have any examples of fossils of dinosaurs being found in between layers of volcanic rock?
Well, I don't know about dinosaurs, but there's a whole lot more fossils than just dinosaurs out there. Dinosaurs are only somewhere around 180 to 65 million years old, because you're not talking about birds. But there was a lot of stuff that came before dinosaurs, and we have those fossils too.
Oh, true Scotsman indeed.
So I think we get really hung up on dinosaurs as like evidence for evolution, but I don't think that that's actually something that we need. We could throw out dinosaurs entirely. There's still all kinds of like archaic synapsids and anapsids.
I think you could keep dinosaurs in. And I know you're trying to just say like throwing it out for simplicity, but I used to work at KFC before, and I used to make the chicken. And if you've ever messed with like a whole chicken wing, you would know that it has a little claw, literally a little claw, a little fingernail in like the middle of the wing. like not like at the tip of it, but it's like a little fingernail that would usually be otherwise covered by feathers. Chickens are like birds in general, they're all reptiles and dinosaurs by extension. Well, dinosaurs and reptiles by extension. But I mean, yeah, there's even a species of bird when they're a baby, they have hand claws, so that way they can climb, but they lose it when they get older. I forget what they're called.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that the similarities between species, I mean, like that can also prove a common creator.
Okay, Signal. Have you ever heard of endogenous retroviruses?
Yeah, I've seen some of the debate on that, and I've seen there's arguments on the other side. There's explanations for that I've heard. It's way over my head, so it's not even worth getting into. But I have seen debate on that, and I can't really have an opinion. Like, it's pretty complicated. It's very complicated. There was people that were making arguments against it that, with my limited knowledge, seemed like pretty good arguments as well to explain that.
Okay. We don't have to touch on that. So I think what to you would demonstrate evolution? Like what not even necessarily like Age of Earth or any of that, just the mechanism. Or like, do you reject the mechanism and just reject, or do you accept the mechanism and just reject universal common ancestry? Or like, what is it about the evolutionary model that you don't like?
Yeah, it's definitely the common ancestry. I mean, you see changes within like a species. You see, changes in dog breeds, and so there's genetic change that happens. I think there's a good argument that I think that a lot of our genetics are degrading. So you're seeing a lot of the changes, and there's even like science behind it of like, what percentage could be a positive change in the genetic code. I think there's a good argument that we're seeing degrading of the genetic code more than anything else, but I think there's variability just built in the code, just of diversity from breeding.
Okay.
But changing,
so
but saying a chicken and a dinosaur related, like you can't just say, oh, because it looks like it has a claw on the wing, that evolution's true. I mean, there's no way to test it. And
okay, so here's a test for whether or not birds are dinosaurs. Okay. If birds were dinosaurs, birds have fused wing fingers, right?
Okay.
In the past, well, when we look at really old dinosaur fossils, they don't have fused wing fingers, or they don't have fused fingers at all, right?
I would have to look into it, but I can take your word for it.
Okay. So that means that in the past, if we could find a specimen that was very clearly bird, like feathers, the whole shebang, with unfused wing fingers, then that would show a transition, right?
Yeah, so you're talking about the transitional fossils.
Would you agree that that would be a transition between dinosaurs and birds?
Could be. It could just be a different created species.
So how would you tell the difference?
I don't think you can, but I mean, sure. I mean, that's.
So are you saying that there's no measurable difference between a lineage of modified organisms and a created kind?
Yeah, no, I think from someone that doesn't believe in evolution, you're saying we don't think that we evolved from a monkey just because there's similarities between us and, whatever the closest ancestor that they say is, whether it's if it's the ape, or I'm not sure exactly which type of primate it is, but yeah, we would say that there's
no,
similarities.
we are monkeys.
Right, but a person that doesn't believe in evolution would say that I don't think that we came from monkeys. We have similarities.
Well, a person who doesn't believe in evolution is purposely ignorant. Is the body of evidence is greater than that of the body of evidence for gravity? So,
I don't think so. I mean,
really?
But Signal, do you
Welcome
see
to the
what
panel,
I'm
Dr.
asking?
Ravis.
How can you tell the difference between a lineage of monkeys giving rise to apes and separate created kinds? And where do you draw the line?
that's the
There has
point.
to be some
We
kind
can't.
of.
Oh, you very
We-
easily can.
But we
So
no,
why can't you?
we
Why
cannot
is it
observe it. We
why
cannot
is it not
observe it
possible in
because
principle?
of the amount of time that evolutionists say it takes for the change to happen. So we're never going to observe in a lifetime a change that drastically. So, you're
Already?
having to pull evidence in that is hotly debated to make the assumption that we're related and that we evolved from primates.
You're aware that Archaeopteryx is not heavily debated, right? It's the consensus among the scientific community that Archaeopteryx is is the very clear transitional fossil between dinosaurs and birds, correct?
I would agree that most people in the scientific community believe in evolution, so it's not debated among them, but it's still debated among the people.
So why
that
would
don't
you
accept
care about ignorant people? I have no reason to care about people who aren't a part of the scientific community. If you haven't dedicated your life in understanding and learning about the world around you, and instead of dedicated your life to a book of made by ignorant goat herders, I have no reason to give a fuck about what your opinion is. I care about the facts in which we can present within science.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's good scientists that don't believe in evolution. You think every scientist believes in there's not a good scientist?
Can you name me a single biologist that does not believe in evolution?
I can't name one off the top of my head, but do you think that
Because
there's not a
there
single?
isn't one.
Do you think that there's not a single credible person that doesn't believe in evolution? Because I'm sure I could find some.
I think there are people who don't believe in evolution that are ignorant on what biology is and how biology works. Yes, I don't think there. I know for a fact, actually, due to our peer reviews, there isn't a single biologist that does not accept evolution as the fact that it is.
Based on surveys. Okay.
Based off of us asking every biologist. Yes.
We've asked every biologist, so that's
Yep.
up to date as of today.
Yep.
Okay. You can believe that. Come on.
Well, I don't believe it. I know it to be true. I don't need beliefs like ignorant opinions like yours do. I have facts.
So show me the study that happened yesterday where every single biologist.
Oh, so now you're moving the goalposts. Do you understand how studies work? Can you explain to me how a study works?
Apparently, science works in your mind by taking a survey, and then we're just going to go.
Signal. Sorry, I'm one of the mods on the panel. So just so you know, like Dr. Ravis is an actual doctor, just for your reference. It's not
Doctor
just a
who?
fun. He's the doctor. The man you're speaking to is an actual doctor. So just to give you that context, so that you understand whom you're speaking with.
And I also want to point out, you said we can't observe evolution, but this very fungus right here adapted to living in Chernobyl, and now it does a thing called radiosynthesis, which is, or hold on, let me actually get the actual thing up, because I might be saying it wrong. Give me 1 second.
It's also fairly important to note that all fossils are technically transitional fossils.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, that is actually true. But I mean, yeah.
Real quick, Heisenblurb had a question that I really wanted to explain for him, because he was asking about, he was pointing out that Archaeopteryx came after birds. And I was explaining how transitional fossils are not about demonstrating specific lineages. They are about showing proofs of concept. So I wanted to expand on that for him. So when you're looking for transitional fossils, the reason why it's not particularly important whether or not that particular fossil led to the extant species that we have today is because evolution doesn't require lineages to die off in order for them to continue to diversify. So, like, you can have a really basal group survive and maintain like very primitive characteristics long after the lineage that actually developed into like modern birds, for example, lost those traits. And so what it does is it just demonstrates that their common ancestor would have had those basal traits as well. So like you see this a lot with like human paleontology. We don't know the exact lineage that led to modern humans. We just have a lot of specimens, and that like we can tell you how old they are and like when they start to appear and all these kinds of things. We can give you diagnostic criteria for like how to identify them, but we can't tell you whether or not we specifically came from this fossil or this species, because science is about finding like answers that we can demonstrate, and so we're never going to be able to demonstrate that any particular specimen ever reproduced. It's about sampling populations, not about establishing a specific lineage. So transitional forms don't have to demonstrate like, oh yeah, we came from this exact thing. It's just a proof of concept that animals like it existed.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair enough.
I mean, my favorite example is Tiktaalik, right? Tiktaalik very clearly shows a transition in its fossil layers, in fact, from lobe-finned fish like the Eustaterion to early tetrapods, you know? And so, like, things like that, we look at, we can see them within their layers, and we can very clearly see that this is them evolving into early tetrapods. The thing is, in order for you to disagree at any level that is important with the sciences, you have to have at least studied an appropriate field. Now, there are young Earth creationists within science, but 9 times out of 10, I have never seen a young Earth creationist within biology.
Okay, I mean, all I'm saying, like, my big gripe with it is you can't, like, there's just so many assumptions that there's just no way to prove it. And I mean, that's not a slight, just because you can't observe species changing, but you can't. And when you look at and you see genetic change and you see adaptation happening with a fungus, with moths or any other organism, you see diversity in the organism, that doesn't show you that there has been that everything comes from a single cellular organism in the ocean millions and millions of years ago. Like, everything's based off of assumptions. So there is no way to observe that.
Well, adaptation is evolution. So every time we see a form of adaptation, that is evolution. Especially when it comes to a genetic level. The thing is that we can observe species change, right? We in a lab over a 30-year span, we evolved an entirely different type of fly from a fruit fly, right? They are no longer genetically similar enough to be considered fruit flies. We call them swamp flies. They'd be more accurately called bog flies, but that's me getting into semantics. But regardless, we call them swamp flies. They don't exist anymore in nature. We made them entirely in the lab through just slightly changing the environment in which these fruit flies were in over the course of 30 years.
Right, but it's still a fly. I mean, and I don't think I'm ever going to be convinced by the adaptation of like one single organism. And you can call it, now it has evolved into a sweat fly. You can call it that, and you can say that proves that a dinosaur turned into a chicken. But it doesn't. Like, you don't know that. It's still a fly. Like we're not seeing the
problem
dramatic
is
change that you see in the
we know
in the
that
story
if
of
enough
evolution.
change, if this much change happened within 30 years, right, and they look vastly different from what they looked before. If this much change happened within 30 years, right, we can then look at other things too, right? We bred dogs from wolves. Dogs were not a species on this planet. We had wolves, and we bred them from wolves. We go all the way down to Chihuahuas. That is still evolution happening, right? That's just kind of factually what it is. Even when we are the ones doing the breeding, it's still evolution. Because all evolution is simply the change in allele frequencies over consecutive generations.
Call it, but okay.
And to deny that is a point of ignorance.
Okay, I agree that you can call that evolution. Then I would agree with that portion of evolution. I don't know what you call it, to where we now know and we now assume that we're like that these fossils that we're finding, that there's ancestry between them, because you don't know that. There's two. It's not one kind of fly into another kind, and we're never going to observe it. And you're making assumptions, and there's arguments against all the science backing it up that I think are persuasive.
Signal, what you just said would violate the laws of evolution.
Yeah,
if
it
we ever
violates
saw
the
that,
law.
it would disprove evolution.
I mean, here's the thing,
I'm not
right?
disproving evolution. I'm just saying I don't believe that you can make the assumptions of common ancestry. That
Do you believe when we find fossils of Homo erectus that though the Homo erectus became Homo sapiens?
no, I don't believe.
Okay, then why do we not find fossils of Homo sapiens in stratolayers with Homo erectus?
I mean, I've seen arguments and debates that are persuasive on it. I can't speak to that particular example, but there have been, like, new types of humanoids that we found that have been totally fraudulent. We find out 50 years later. So
No, you're
my
speaking
point
of
is that
Piltdown Man. You're speaking of Piltdown Man and Nebraska Man. Those ones were found to be fraudulent within the first 2 years of them being out. They were never accepted once. And the reason it took 50 years for us to entirely take them apart is the morons that faked it decided they were going to write books about it and try to spread it around the thing. The thing is that this is incredibly normal to see in the layperson of not understanding the basics. But the problem is that the layperson doesn't matter to the science. They just don't.
Signal, I'm gonna ask you to get something for me. So this thing that's on the bat, what does that look like to you? Like, what do you think that is? That's on the bat's face.
yeah, I mean, it looks like a spider.
No, it's a fly.
Okay. So, well, yeah, I mean, it's only got 6 legs, so yeah, I see it's not a spider. But what's the point you're making?
What? How? My bad. My brain just kind of had a short circuit moment. You said that, I guess, like, one thing can't become another thing, and I'm not necessarily saying that, but like, this, in all intents and purposes, is still a fly, but it has evolved, or I mean, yeah, evolved convergently with, I think, a spider. Like, I don't know, I forget exactly what they do. I think they, like, eat parasites on them. I don't remember, but I just vividly remembered this. But yeah, like,
Yeah, I mean, here's another reason that I would say that, like, I have a problem with evolution is the whole argument of irreducible complexity. And when you look at certain things like the human, or like any kind of eye,
Irreducible
there's
complexity has been
a lot of
debunked.
debate on how that could evolve.
That there is
Or systems and cellular structures. It's just
the problem is that me and you debating isn't a lot of debate. A couple lay people debating, people who are not within things, isn't a lot of debate. You'd have to have a lot of debate within the field itself, and there isn't, right? We understand that eyes evolved 5 or 7 separate times throughout history. We can see them, and we can track them, and we understand how evolution for the eye worked. that irreducible complexity is an argument for personal incredulity, which is why it's so popular among creationists, because personal incredulity is just another word for an argument from ignorance. Essentially, what happens is that a creationist throws up the concept of, look at this. This is irreducibly complex. Your best example, the one that stumped us for a long time, was the Flagella motor. I'm probably saying that way wrong. And in realist, and then when we discovered that the Flagella motor, the tail, it's not irreducibly complex. When you remove a certain amount of genes, it doesn't work as a motor anymore for motor function, but it actually works more like an appendage. That we can track the genes in which allowed it to begin movement back to the ones that allowed it to begin like an appendage. It's not irreducibly complex. It's just that the people who want to argue irreducible complexity have no idea what they're talking about.
That's fine, but yeah, I mean, I think that's why the origin of life is. They're trying the most simple organism that they possibly can, even the most simple necessary for life that everyone agrees would be necessary for organic life to happen, and they are nowhere close. Look up some of the debates and the reviews of studies that Dr. James Tour does, and I mean, that's the most simple organism you could ever imagine.
A biogenesis is not related to evolution.
Yeah,
They're
and
two
Dr.
separate
James
things.
Tour is a chemist. He's not a biologist. I have no reason to give a fuck what he has to say.
All right, we're gonna move on. We're with signal.
If I can get in.
Yeah. We're gonna move on to the next op here. Signal. You've had the floor for a while, so we're gonna move on to Heisenberg. Heisenberg, what do you got to say?
Oh, okay. Okay, I only popped up, unfortunately, just kind of quick because I'm in the middle of something, but I heard Dr. Ravis talking about the flagellum, and I think he's not even getting the evolution argument correct. The evolution argument is that the flagellar motor evolved from the type 3 secretion system, and this is seen to refute Michael Behe's irreducible complexity argument, right? The problem is that predictions were made about these two systems because they share many parts, and the prediction is that the simpler system, which would be the secretion system, I call it the pump for simplicity, that the simpler system evolved into the more complex motor, the flagellum. And so these are competing predictions of evolution and design. And I've actually had this argument with scientists on TikTok, and invariably they all say, yeah, I mean, we found the simpler system from which the flagellum evolved, but now we know that it is the opposite. The flagellar motor in some bacteria devolved, as in it lost parts and became the type 3 secretion system. We know this from multiple independent lines of evidence, like mutation density studies, the fact that secretion systems actually do have the genes for the flagellum, they're just not expressed, and multiple other independent lines of evidence. So it's actually a great case where the predictions of design turned out to be true and the predictions of evolution turned out to be false. So Dr. Ravis, I think in the first place, you don't even know your own argument, but in the second place, it's actually an argument of, an argument for design because of the successful prediction of design.
So you're telling me...
That's all I had to come up and say.
You're telling me that a scientist told you that the flagellum motor de-evolved.
We know that. We know that now.
Okay, then I already know that you're a liar. There's no reason to continue a conversation with you. No scientist,
Okay, well,
no scientist ever used
factually
evolved
incorrect.
is that word does not
You're
exist.
factually incorrect.
I mean, you can try to talk over me, but I'm going to keep talking. I don't give a fuck personally when someone wants to be mowed over. That's
That's
their
okay. You can do that and be
de-evolution is
wrong.
something that
Well, I will silence you, Heisenberg, if you don't let the man speak. You got the floor. Let him have it, or you will get silenced or booted.
de-evolution isn't something that occurs every change in allele frequencies over consecutive generations, regardless if it's a change up, change down, change neutral. That is evolution. There's no such thing as de-evolution because of how the very way that we understand evolution. So I know you're lying, which is fine. I deal with liars all the time. But the predictions that came from the Fagella motor itself were never made in any way that allowed us to actually make predictions until a scientist stepped in and was able to look at it. And then they said, oh, look, because the scientists vaguely agreed with what we said, that means that we are right. And that's not true. The scientist that actually was able to make the prediction power on it all was a biologist. He did study evolution. And the way he understood it is with one track back, yes, it looked as if it became less efficient. With one more track back, yes, it looked as if it was more efficient all of a sudden, which is where the concept of de-evolution that people want to pretend is an actual phrase in science came from. I mean, at the end of the day, you exposed your hand by lying about terminology. So I already know that you're not going to have anything positive to say on this.
What was the name of the pump?
I'm not here to play. I'm not. The pump is the type 3 secretion system. I'm not here to play semantics. I'm here to point out that the evolutionary view made a competing prediction with the design view, as articulated by Behe and others, and actually even by my own self in conversations with scientists who did not actually even understand this argument. And invariably, I've not one time, when I've asked them what would they predict on an evolutionary model, which came first, the motor or the pump, not once have they said that the motor would have come first, or that would be expected to come first. They've all said, and actually some of them have even said, we know that the pump came first. And they're just saying that because it's the simpler system. And they believe that life became more complex over time from an evolutionary view. And it's an incorrect prediction of the evolutionary model and a correct prediction of design. I don't really care about semantics.
Well, the evolutionary model says that there will be a change.
Do parasites exist?
Sorry, go ahead.
Do parasites exist, Heisenblurb?
No. I don't know what just happened there.
I was asking about parasites.
He asked you a question, Heisenberg. Do you care to answer?
Oh, I didn't hear the question.
I was asking you about like where parasites came from.
Parasites. I mean, are you talking about the mitochondria or something like that?
No, I'm talking about parasitic organisms. So like flatworms.
I don't know much about that topic.
Okay. Would you say that like a tapeworm very likely had a worm ancestor?
I don't know. I think that there's some convergence, and I don't know what the explanation is for evolutionary convergence. It's not always common ancestry. So,
well, the point that I'm making here with parasites is that parasites, they tend to make their way into biological niches where they don't have to do all that much, especially when they're like inside of the host animal. So a lot of them, like the kind of biological like machinery that goes into like living, like when you're not inside of an animal, doesn't really benefit you much. So they tend to lose those traits over time. But I don't think anyone would argue that parasites aren't extremely well adapted to life inside their hosts.
Monsters.
Sure, I guess.
So
I don't think I
that
have a
is,
problem with that.
they're losing traits, they're losing abilities that their ancestors had as an exchange for energy efficiency.
Oh yeah, no, I think that happens. Sure.
Okay. So when any particular function in biology disappears, that's not actually an indication of de-evolution, is it?
It's okay. There's two perspectives, and I think I don't like semantics, but I think the semantics here are used in two different but both valid ways. You can say it's just regular evolution because it's only change, like it's directionless, right? But I think it's also de-evolution in the sense that it is a loss of function. And part of what we're trying to explain in evolutionary theory is the origin of novel functions, right? So if something loses a novel function, it's going in the opposite direction of the thing we're trying to explain, of the direction of our explanation, which we call evolution. So I think a loss of novel traits or novel function legitimately can be called devolution. And I think it's an important distinction to make as well. Like, it's informative to think about those things because these are real questions that should be answered and explored.
So how do you tell the difference between the loss of a novel function?
Then we're doing less science.
Wait. Say that last bit again. Who was doing less science?
If we erase meaningful distinctions, then we are not exploring certain questions, and so that means we're doing less science. We're giving ourselves fewer questions to explore when there are real questions.
So for example, would you say that genes that code for proteins are those novel functions?
Yeah, because it's German switch, right?
The genes themselves, or the translation of the genes?
Either one you're comfortable with. I just want to know.
Yeah, I think I would say so.
So, and Paul could probably tell me whether or not I'm wrong, but if there were a tumor suppressor gene that was turned off, would that be a loss of function?
A gene that's turned off so that it's not expressed, would that be a loss of function? I think probably that would be a loss of function because you're not expressing the gene or the protein that produces that function, so you literally are losing that function. Now, whether that produces a selective advantage under certain circumstances, I'm not sure. I mean, sometimes yes, sometimes no. But those are different questions.
Is there being a selective advantage relevant to whether or not there was a loss of function?
Definitionally, I'm not sure. I don't think so. I think these are different things. I would probably say that those are different things. I mean, you can have a selective advantage by not doing something, right? Like, there's some tree branches that just... I enjoyed a selective advantage by not walking under that tree when the bird...
That's not what
I'm trying to talk about changes in populations. So, like, specifically, if there's a gene in a population that's responsible for suppressing tumors, and that gene gets turned off, is that de-evolution?
I mean, I would have to look at the gene. I would probably say, yeah. If you're not expressing that gene, then you literally lose that function because the gene, the protein it expresses, doesn't exist. You literally are losing something that functions.
Why don't remove it?
Okay, so and this is where I'd really have to rely on Paul's expertise. But my understanding was that there were tumor suppressor genes that monkeys have that are we have as well, but they're turned off, and that's part of the reason why we have larger brains.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, that could be it. I don't know the science of that, but
Well,
it
I would
could be
love
the
to know the
case.
science of that. God, I wish Paul could come up. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the case. I think most of the time it would be a loss, but it could get out of the way of other things, though. That's possible.
Okay, we have some new people on the panel. I'm not sure who was first, so I'll just go with Cray. What do you got to say about the prompt? Best for each one. We'll get
Well,
to you.
I was more gonna comment on the fact that loss of function does not mean de-evolution, right? So I would give an example to this. If you guys know about it's a really, I think, classic example of evolution, that being the three-spined stickleback. And the fact that in marine environments, the three-spined stickleback has these large pelvic spines, and these spines help protect against larger predatory fish. But when they go to spawn, they go into freshwater environments, and when they are going to one population was going to spawn, and before they could get back, they got isolated in this freshwater environment where there are not many predatory fish, but there are predatory dragonfly larvae. And if the three-spined stickleback had those pelvic spines, then the dragonfly larva would have a very easy time grabbing onto them and eating them. So there was a mutation in one of the gene's enhancers. So the whole gene is called the PIDX1 gene, and it codes for a multitude of things, but the specific enhancer for the pelvic spines was deleted completely, right? And when it got deleted in this freshwater environment, the fish was able to thrive because it no longer had that disadvantage in this environment of having pelvic spines. So you can totally lose function of something, but if the environment is placing a positive pressure for that loss of function, it's going to actually persist in the population itself.
Thanks, Cray. And who needed to hear that most bounced, unfortunately. Oh,
And
and
also,
so
I
who?
was gonna say that flagella is also an example of convergent evolution because not only bacteria evolved, so did other prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Single-celled versions of eukaryotes evolved that. There's many examples of it.
Y'all want to learn a fun fact that I just learned the other day? They
Of course we
they
do.
just they just reclassified New York as a subtropical humid environment, and I looked it up and it was true. It's actually subtropical. How do y'all feel about that?
Climate change.
Well, I mean, yeah, obviously. I genuinely think that this would have happened, but like we just kind of jump started it. But I mean, like not exactly like the causing, like what caused it, but like what y'all think about that? Like,
10,000 years too early.
yeah, I'll say yeah.
Shoot, isn't Europe? Won't Europe become a tundra because of like how the Gulf Stream is gonna collapse in a couple decades?
Oof. I don't know actually. I didn't even hear that.
The reason why Europe is not as cold as it is because of the Gulf Stream that goes from Mexico all the way up to Europe, the Mediterranean.
I've recently been reading on how we've been tracking tectonic shifts, whereas it looks as if we're going to go back to a supercontinent known as Amasia eventually, which
Ooh.
is kind of exciting.
How long will that be?
It'll be like a million years, but
Really?
I mean, like probably more than a million years, but like it'll be quite a while. But like the fact that we're like tracking the drift and everything, and we appear to be tracking towards a drift that is similar to a supercontinent in which we already know of is incredible.
Yeah,
No.
there's been like, isn't there like a part of Africa that's starting to split apart?
Yes.
Great Rift Valley.
Yeah.
Africa itself, like the entirety of Africa, is splitting in half.
Like most people only know of Pangea, and most people don't even know about Pangea. But like the fact that we've had like 12 known supercontinents that we're aware of and have named, like it's exciting that we're going back to one of those 12 potentially.
12. That's the first time I've heard of that. I knew about Pangea, but I didn't know that that's been done 12 times over. Huh.
Yeah.
And in a million years is crazy. Like, well, I know not exactly a million years, but I mean like around a million years. That's actually kind of interesting.
Yeah, I believe Amasia, I believe, was back in the Cambrian, and then somewhere between this the Silurian and the Triassic is where we first pop up with Pangea. I think I could be entirely wrong there. I am nowhere near knowledgeable about continental shift and everything as I am about biology.
Do you think humans will be around then?
I think I believe that hominids will survive. I think that we'll have. I don't know if we'll be able to classify ourselves as Homo sapiens anymore, though.
So like in your like honest opinion, because I honestly always hear people say like, oh no, like that won't happen. But like even if there is like another global war, like we're like roaches. Like people like we're just like, it's very easy for us to survive. You know what I mean? Like it said, like somebody had said before, there was an event. Um, how many 100,000 years ago, and that left like 1,280, breeding pairs, and we bounced back from that. So I mean, like, yeah, I don't know, like I just.
Yeah. So the ones. So like the Kenner land. The Kenner land apparently is the one that we would have seen in the Proterozoic. So before life first came about. I'm just looking at it now because I thought that was so curious. But yeah, there's been a lot of supercontinents.
Interesting.
But no, I honestly think that we'll find. So the problem is that as a species, because of how smart we are, we're also very hardy, and so I think we will find a way to survive if there's a way to survive, and if not, we have no mammalians are kind of like dominant. Actually, insects are dominant, but like. We eat insects, so fuck them. But like, you know what I mean? Like,
Aggressive. So, Dr. Ravis, is it just that Pangea was the last supercontinent, so it gets all the press? Is that how
yeah.
that tracks? Okay.
So actually, Pangea was just what we thought was the last supercontinent. Technically, the last one was Laurasia and Gondwana. So Laurasia would have been the Euro-America. You probably have heard it as Euro-America, and then like Gondwana would have been like what we saw, what became our southern hemisphere.
Classified as a supercontinent when more than one of the existing continents hasn't broken apart and become a separate continent. Is that how that tracks?
Yeah, supercontinents are like the best way to describe them is 3 or more of our known continents lined
Three
up.
or
You know?
more. Three or more. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Yep.
Fuck, I
So,
didn't know that.
Pangea is the second biggest example of this. And the only reason it's the second biggest is there's a lot more land available to us during Kennerland. And that was because we had just cooled as a planet.
I love TikTok. When else do you get to talk to people that know so much about, well, their area of expertise? You don't run into Dr. Ravis's or Paul's to the music on the street like, oh, hey man, like tell me about all the things that you know at an advanced level. Right? It's usually you're just surrounded by those of your ilk.
I mean, I have a really bad habit of
Interesting to
being
talk to
chatty.
generally.
What's that, Electric Space Potatoes?
My ilk are not particularly engaging to talk to most of the time.
Yeah, mine are funny, right? But and good to drink with, but yeah, it wouldn't. None of this would work.
The joke that I always tell people who ask me, like, maybe is I like my a lot of my coworkers have problems communicating because like we focus super hard in the field, and sometimes it makes us so that we stop looking at other people. But essentially, the joke I always say is, if you look at my D&D group, in my D&D group, we have 2 people who have doctorates, we have we have a lawyer, and everyone else works in a factory somewhere. And so, like, as a whole, we are technically a fairly diverse group, but like we all are able to talk, get along, share our passions. If one of my friends that works over at the Ford factory tries to explain a machine to me, I stare at him like one of their machines to me. I stare at him like he's speaking a foreign language. If I try to explain, genetics to him, he stares at me like I'm speaking a foreign language.
Yeah, that doesn't mean you can't bond, have a good time, share experience, get advice, learn from each other, right? That's
yeah.
As long as you approach it from, hey, you might have something I can learn from you, right? Hi, 3. What have you got to say? 3, you're really loud. Do you have anything to say, or you're just doing chores here? Well, I'll give you 5 more seconds. 5,
Go 3,
4, 3, 2. Okay, somebody beat me to it.
That's unfortunate.
Tap that button by mistake.
But I just go ahead.
I was just gonna say I ought to get going here pretty soon. I gotta start my drive.
Nice talking to you, Dr. Ravis. Thanks for the knowledge.
See you again.
It's always a treat to have you on. Thank you.
Always a treat to be on. I love discussing things. Well,
I love it.
I really like dog walking creationists personally, but
I love that. You have a great night, man. But I just think it's so fascinating that and I know global warming or whatever, but I just think it's so fascinating that New York is now subtropical humid. Not only that, I live in Ohio, right? Like 75% of like the southern
You
part
don't
of
have to
Ohio.
lie.
I do.
Ohio doesn't exist.
It does.
Show me the evidence.
I would show my driver's license, but I can't.
So finish your thought.
But no, like 75%, like most of the lower part of Ohio is also subtropical humid.
Interesting thing about up here and around where I live. So Canada and Ontario got rid of all the coal plants, and immediately after, I forget the actual stat, but it is quite something as far as like how many smog days the city of Toronto had, and then thereafter, it went down to basically nothing.
have you guys seen how that actually is kind of insane? I'm glad that you guys have clean air now, but have you guys seen that the Everglades are drying up? Like they're actively like there's only like small pools of water in most places, like small, I guess, like lakes and ponds left.
It's because we're draining it. Like we're like destroying the habitat for more like houses and stuff.
Well,
So
what really?
another fun fact is the Colorado River used to actually discharge into the ocean, but now it's drawn from so much it no longer does.
Wow. Well, what actually happened with the Everglades is that there was a lake, I believe, or a river. I forgot what it was called, but it has like this crazy name that I can't pronounce. Um, it basically used to drain into the Everglades, but they stopped it from draining into the Everglades. So now the Everglades, yeah, just not a thing. Just like how here, like my area used to be called the Great Black Swamp, and I live like right by Lake Erie, right? Um, a lot of like our watershed, we're noticing now that it's like we're like seeing the damage from them draining the swamp that was here like over 200 years ago. Like, there was frogs, there was so much shit here. It was like the filter, like it kept, you know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
regulated everything.
That's my world. Like the name isn't just because I like the movie, but I do like the movie. It's more just that's my vocation. So, yeah, the loss of wetlands. Wetlands retain water. When you get
Yep.
rid of wetlands, it causes flooding issues because you no longer have that natural sink,
It's a damn shame.
and you
That's
don't
why
have
some
the
city. That's why some cities in Florida like flood severely every year because they are removing the natural barriers for them.
Hi, Dave. What do you got to say?
Can you hear us, Dave?
Yeah, he's looking something up.
Nah, his
Oh, he
he's gone.
gone.
Signal wasn't very good.
Accidentally
Um,
called him.
but with all the global warming talk, it does make me wonder, like, are we gonna see a premature green Sahara?
Oh,
Oh.
yes,
Well,
please,
isn't it?
yes,
But
please.
the Sahara is expanding though. Deserts are expanding.
Aw.
Right,
The,
but
the,
part
re-
of
the
the
reason
reason
why
why the Sahara turns green is because it gets hotter and
the,
it
the
causes
reason why it was because
monsoons.
of solar radiation. Like it doesn't have as much as it did a couple 100,000 years. Like
Yeah.
during the course of our human evolution, right? That it sort of like shifted away from being irradiated so much that it started becoming a grassland, and trees started dying off because they weren't receiving enough water for them to survive. That's where apes came about because they had to start walking, or having these semi bipedal movement.
Yeah.
Well,
You had to get down
our
out of the trees
ancestors
and walk
were
around.
more or less bipedal when they weren't in the trees already. The one of the proposed reasons for why bipedality was selected for after we left the trees was just carrying our young.
Yeah, I had read that too, though, that a big reason was because the expanse started to widen, so you had to actually walk more to sustain yourself.
But we've got a guest. What do they have to
Yeah.
say?
Hi, Mark.
Yeah, Mark.
How you doing?
I'm all right.
Do you have anything to say about the prompt, Mark?
Yeah, Mr. Garrison on an episode of South Park gives a really good explanation of evolution. You should YouTube it. It's really funny.
I've seen it.
Grandpa got a
Yeah,
I think the biggest criticism that I would have is the frog part.
I have not seen that in a
No.
while.
Yeah, I don't remember it play by play, but I remember it was hilarious.
I'm assuming that it's not TikTok friendly, considering you said the frog part.
No.
No, it's
Probably
not.
not.
It's not TikTok friendly.
Damn.
Definitely not. But it's certainly hilarious, and certainly explains the theory of evolution, which was brought forth by a man named Charles Darwin, who was
And
a
Alfred Russell
what
Wallace.
would you call Charles Darwin today, who hated melanated people, thought they were heathens, and that they would be bred out of existence. What would you call him and his cousin? Do you know
I
who?
don't think I've
Do you
read
know who
anything
Francis?
from
Do you know
Darwin
who?
that said anything like that.
Yeah, he
But
did.
what about it? Like,
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
what are you what
Yes,
conclusion are you
Darwin
coming to?
says. Yes,
No,
Darwin
I've
said
specifically
that the
read
melanated world.
Darwin say
That
the exact
Darwin
opposite
said
of
that the
what this guy's saying.
melanated world will be bred out. He was a European what? What do you call him today? I think a racist.
But what about it? Like, what's the thing you're going to?
Charles Darwin was a eugenicist. He hated melanated people and thought they were savages, and said that they
Are you
would
sure you're
be
not talking
bred.
about his cousin? Talking about his cousin?
Who is his cousin? Who's Charles Darwin's cousin?
Mr. Darwin?
No. Who is his cousin?
I
It
have
was
no
a
idea.
eugenicist. He was so you know nothing about evolution.
Why
And
that's
the men who brought forth the theory of evolution with Lucy and now all the so-called anthropologists bring forth skeletons like Lucy, which is a total fraud. So
Okay,
who was
we
Charles?
can
Who was
throw
Charles?
Lucy in the
Who?
garbage. There's still dozens more Australopiths.
I wasn't digging that too much. Electric space potatoes. I did want to learn a little more about the desert, because I think there's something there's something I'm missing there, and you were about to lay down some facts that I wasn't aware of. So just the desert turning into a grassland due to global warming. Can you just expand on that?
Oh yeah. So I'm not a meteorologist or anything, but when you look at the history with the Green Sahara, the reason why the Sahara was green was because of the Milankovitch cycle that I had mentioned earlier. Is that increased solar irradiance made that region of the planet hotter, and so that rising air produced enough of a wind current to bring in monsoons,
Okay.
and that's what made it wet.
Okay.
So you
I
guys
was
are
wondering
talking
where the
about,
water came from, but now I understand. Okay.
yeah. So you guys were talking about like New York becoming subtropical. Well, shit, is the Sahara going to get hot enough to start getting monsoons?
So it was like the higher temperature just created the different pressure gradient that then drew in the monsoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, I originally thought that global warming was just going to be another big ups for reptiles, but then I was told that the acidity of the ocean is getting so high that everything's probably going to unalive anyway at some point. So now I'm kind of sad. Well, I mean, not kind of sad, but yeah.
That horseshoe
And
crab will still
corals
keep kicking.
definitely will.
Nah. Wait, what?
I just said the
Corals
horseshoe
will
crab.
die.
The horseshoe crabs are my hero. Like those guys, like what was it? 97% of all life, both aquatic and terrestrial, and I forget the split where
Great
it was unalived. Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
You're talking about the Great Dying?
Yeah,
The
the great. Yeah,
great part
exactly. The great.
mass extinction?
Yeah, like was it 97%? Was that? Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah, but like the horseshoe crab lives on, like
Yep.
pre dinosaur, all through the dinosaurs, and still kicking today, and
There's
providing.
actually,
Go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, there's actually a lot of animals that are from the dinosaurs. Bowfin, they've been around for like shit, They've been like here in North America for like a few 100 million years, I think. Um, I know gar, sawfish, coelacanths. Like I mean, like I'm not trying to, you
Shark?
know, yeah, but I mean, the clade of sharks have been around, but I'm talking about those specific animals. Like, like bowfins have been around for a long ass time. Gar have been around for like obviously sharks, yeah, but like there's only like a handful of species of gar and like one or two species of bowfin and like one or two types of coelacanth and like one or two types of sawfish. You know what I mean? There's like a dozen different types of shark or more or species, I should say. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, what were
But
you
yeah,
about?
I was gonna say that the sharks like are so old. They're older than the fucking rings of Saturn.
Oh shit, yeah, forgot about that. Yeah, that actually is true.
They're older than trees.
Yeah, that actually is true as well. But
Yeah, and then cold only exists in that window of time that trees existed before the bacteria to break down the trees evolved, right? So it only exists
Yeah.
within that window, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
Yep. Fungus didn't evolve the ability to digest lignin
Hmm.
at that period. So basically, when those big trees felled, they got basically at that time where there was a lot of vegetation. It was basically you could call Earth swamp world at that time because the
Hmm.
majority of like terrestrial animals lived in like swamp like areas. So at that time, all of these big things that you would call trees would fall over into these like big swampy pools and calcify there and like sequester all of that carbon that they use to grow. It spiked so much that we had giant insects. Like I'm talking like dragonflies the size of eagles.
Well, that like I think like the megafauna and like dinosaurs, like the oxygen percentage of the atmosphere was much greater at that time, right?
The dinosaurs didn't exist at that time,
But I,
but what was the major well, I guess the apex predators of those times in like megafaunas were insects.
okay, yeah. But I didn't know that until not too many years ago that the ecosystem that supported the atmosphere that supported the dinosaurs, which was like I forget what the percentage is, but not 21 point or not
Yeah, it was
20.5,
higher than what it is now.
yeah,
Yeah.
much higher, and that they couldn't survive. Like the flaw in Jurassic Park is that the atmosphere doesn't exist with the same oxygen content.
Well, I'm sure smaller dinosaurs would have been just fine, as
Well,
avian
you also
respiration is way more efficient than
that and
anything mammals have.
the dinosaurs from Jurassic Park aren't even dinosaurs. Like they're literally just genetic abominations, and they explicitly say that all the time in Jurassic Park. Like
Yeah, but they
Doctor Wu,
contradict themselves on that.
well, I know that, but I mean, like they specifically say like they're not real dinosaurs, and even even before that when they said that they're not, it's kind of like they use frog DNA, and even in the books they were never real dinosaurs. They acted more like frog-like in a lot of instances.
Yeah, like the whole like the T Rex couldn't see if you stand still. That's fake. They
Yeah,
they had the type of visions that we do. They had binocular vision, so if they were looking at you, they were looking at you.
100%. Um, but yeah, in Jurassic World, the first one, if you've ever seen it, Henry Wu and I don't remember who it was. Henry Wu and somebody else, whatever director, whoever was running Jurassic World at the time, were having a whole argument about the Indominus Rex, and basically, Wu said, you said more teeth, you know, obviously, basically he had said something along the lines that none of the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park or Jurassic World um, look like how they're supposed to look. They're just theme park monsters. So I mean, like, yeah, And plus, they like it's implied that in the new movie, wherever they're going, like the dinosaurs have adapted to live there. Like they've been there for like a long, long time. And I mean, like even on the what other? I think it was Isla Sorna. Jurassic Park 3 was on, right?
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, um, anywho, I just wanted to add this really quickly. This is my Discord. I only got like a couple people in there right now. If y'all got Discord, feel free to take a screenshot of that join. I think I think the QR code still works, but I'm trying to like set up debates and stuff so that way, we can speak freely, and not have to like censor ourselves and talk like actual grown ass adults. But it's mainly just for fun. But
I wonder though, electric space potatoes, like I do a lot of confined space entry in my job, and like if your oxygen level drops below like just a couple percentage below 21%, it starts to pose a hazard, and you're going to start to experience deleterious effects. So I just don't know. Like I would assume the same would happen for an organism that's used to a more oxygen rich atmosphere.
Well, I guess the way that you would compare would be to just look at modern birds. Modern birds have no problem like going up in altitude where humans would pass out in a second. And they're using the same respiratory system that these dinosaurs had.
But the concentration of oxygen is the same. It just becomes compressed.
Well, the amount of oxygen higher up is less. It's less about the concentration. It's about oxygen availability. That's my understanding. That's why we need oxygen assistance when we're climbing a mountain.
Question whenever you all are done.
Go ahead, Reddit. Yeah, we're just shooting the shit here. Go ahead.
Do y'all happen to know what's the difference between Sonic the Hedgehog genes and Cox genes? Or what is it?
Yeah.
I have a problem differentiating.
I've heard of that. I've heard of Sonic the Hedgehog syndrome.
So Sonic the Hedgehog genes, so that's going to be responsible for a developmental issue with like
Man,
the
you're such a nigger ass
of
up,
the face
nigger.
and eyes.
Okay.
Whoa.
And then Hox genes, those
Could you repeat that? Because this guy said a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, no worries.
You start over.
So Sonic the
Sorry about that.
Hedgehog gene, it's I don't remember quite how it functions, but it's going to be related to a developmental issue surrounding like the development of the eyes and face. So I know if there's like a problem with that gene, like the bridge of your nose, like your two eye cavities are like fused together, just like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, I saw that in my embryology book. That's disgusting.
Hey, do you guys I don't mean to cut in. Do you guys remember that guy's name? Because like when water kicked him, I wanted to block him, but like if you can just like if you remember the username at all, I'm gonna go because I think I'm following him.
It had a whole bunch of O's in it. It was like Joe or something.
Yeah, like J00. I thought it was okay. Never mind. Don't quote me.
No, you're good. I just noticed when he came up here, there wasn't a little plus next to his name. So I think I accidentally followed him at some point. I don't know who he is, but yeah, no. He don't need to be coming on my lives like that. That's crazy work. That's literally the last.
You may need to restart.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna restart. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So I'm about
And
to
then
do it right now.
Hox